I got something really good for you. But I looked up the name of known Templar names in the Hyperion Wiki. Buckle up, there are 4 of them. Het Mastine, check. Ket Rostein, check. Sek Hardine, check. And Redicastine.
It's like the new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's gonna be this.
Teen must mean something in their world.
Nope.
You know that.
Nope, it just rhymes and they like to rhyme. Mystery solved.
It's the true voice of the
Book
Book
is
Readers
over.
Is
podcast.
it solved?
Hello and welcome to Book Retorts. I'm Sam.
I'm Danielle.
And this is the podcast about sharing your weird media finds with your friends who don't know what you're talking about. But not only do I have more than one friend here, we definitely know what I'm talking about because this is our final Hyperion episode. It's over. Thank you so much, Danielle.
What are we going to do with our time?
And of course, joining us on the tail end of our journey here has been Filip of Mind Duck Books.
Oh my goodness. It's all coming to an end. Can't bear it.
Yeah. We're so excited to be done.
The curse is almost broken.
I cannot express to you how excited I am to be able to do other media pieces without being like, I gotta get back to Hyperion at some point.
Yeah, nothing beats Hyperion. It's the best thing in the universe. I feel like it's Christmas today. Can't wait to have all my answers. Can't wait to have everything resolved.
You're going to get
catharsis.
so many answers today, Filip. You're going to be so happy. You're going to go beyond acceptance, right around to joy in your...
I have prepared myself for this momentous occasion. I have bought new boxing gloves, and after this episode is done, I'm going to sprint to the gym and I'm going to punch things for 2 hours straight. That's the plan anyway.
Oh, that's so good. Well, before we dive into our final Hyperion recap, I think we have a special segment from Filip, isn't that right?
Oh, I thought that's usually after the recap, but okay.
I read it before. I think we need to open with something a little bit less arduous than the recap.
So we have like my questions corner and the other corner and this and that corner. Today I have please no more corner. Please stop.
Please no more corner.
Yeah, please don't anymore.
Okay, Danielle, let's do the theme song for that one.
Phillips, please don't no more. Please no more corner.
Perfect. Nailed it. First take. First try. Done in one. Cut, print. We're good.
So I have written down like a list of stuff I don't want them to talk about anymore and don't explain any longer and don't give me any more details about.
So you've gone from wanting answers to being like, that's too many answers.
Yeah, on the last episode, to quote Sam, how do you like them answers now? So I don't want them anymore.
We don't want those answers now.
Too bad.
So number 1, don't explain the Shrike anymore. Just don't. Just let it go.
You were so excited to know about the Shrike, though.
I already got 2 explanations. I didn't like the second one, so you should have left it at the first one. Number 2, don't talk anymore about the tigers and bears. I think when they were ambiguous and just like the cute figure, I was satisfied. So don't over-explain them.
You don't need any more.
Oh boy, I don't mean to laugh so hard, but I know what happens.
The moment I said nice and I was silent, I thought that was the end of it, and I was ready to accept that. And yeah, so please just don't do it. Number 3. Don't explain anything about the cruciform anymore. It's been explained like 7 times again. And we learned about the origin and who made it and where made it and how it works. So just let it go. It's enough.
Oh,
enough of the cruciform explanation.
Okay.
Next one. For God's sake, don't bring back Martin Silenus and don't let him recite any more poetry. Just leave him out of this. He's been gone for a while. They brought him back in the last episode. Why is he here? Hopefully he's not coming back.
Martin. He can come back as much
I
as he
don't want
wants.
him. They can keep him.
Oh, we have fight.
And
just bring them all back.
The
We've
last,
already gotten
bring back
several.
Braun, bring back Martin. We got Het Mastine and Cassad back. We're almost got the whole party back.
And
We've got
Rachel's
Hoyt.
back.
Rachel's back. The only person who's not back is Saul, pretty much.
Yeah.
And the console.
bringing Kossad back. I don't even have this on the list, but since already we talked about it, I let's just add Kossad anyway. Just leave Kossad out of this. Nobody asked him to come back. Just get out of here, Kossad. I don't want you. I don't want you to be the Shrike. I don't want you to be playing with yourself. I don't want you to be, doing stuff. So, but the most important part. Please don't tell us anymore that this story narration is unreliable by multiple levels of unreliable narration. Just shut up. I don't want to hear this anymore. It's so annoying. Nothing is reliable. Nothing makes any sense. Nothing can be trusted. No people remember anything. Just, oh my god. So don't do that anymore.
Well, Filip, of that list, I can tell you will be satisfied with exactly one of those items. I won't tell you which one. I won't tell you which one, but exactly one of those is going to make you happy because one of those things happens, and all the others, I'm sorry.
And just a question for you guys: I didn't don't bring Keats back because I kind of want Keats back. Do you guys want Keats back?
We want Keats. I kind of miss the weird Keats obsession of the first two books.
I miss Keats.
Yeah, where is Keats?
I don't know much about Keats or classical poetry, so I'm not qualified to speak on the quality or impact of his work. But I really kind of enjoyed that this book was so obsessed with him in such a weird way. Yeah. Everything was Keats, and it was all like the Hyperion cantos and all the cybrids being Keats and the Keats personalities coming back.
It went somewhere.
It was a fun through line. It was just a fun little I bet it's a Keats. And it was a Keats,
yeah,
usually.
It went from why is this here to this is extremely annoying to please stop it to I'm curious now to this is something and then I'm intrigued and then it actually went somewhere and I am very amused. So why isn't this here anymore? It was the strongest through line.
I do miss the strong Keats presence in the books. So,
Anything else you guys hope doesn't come back or does come back before we?
Well, I know. So Danielle, please.
No, I have a thought. As you both know, I've been re-listening to all of the Hyperion episodes.
Doing some homework. I love it.
For funsies. While I've been doing all of my yard work.
You gotta do something.
And I have a question that you don't have to answer. I'm just curious as I thought of it while I was listening. Is Abetic one of the lions and tigers that is supposed to be among humanity? Because at one point you talk about how there's some of the lions and tigers have taken human form, blah, blah, blah. And then at one point Abetic doesn't take the blood of Aenea Christ because reasons. And I'm just curious if there's something going on with Abetic.
I can say nothing for obvious reasons, but Filip, you're welcome to chime in.
Yes. The answer is
yes.
The answer is yes. Just seems like a mysterious. Maybe his siblings that he's looking for are the other ones that were supposed to have been.
Oh yeah, whatever happened to that mission?
Come on.
He's supposed to find his the 6 siblings that all the androids always have a 6.
They could be lions and tigers.
That never went anywhere. That never went anywhere. It just never happened.
Oh, I skipped one more point from stuff I don't want them to talk about anymore. Father Duray and Father Hoyt. Don't bring them back ananymore. I
want Father Duray to come back.
Oh, okay. Well, I won't say whether that one comes or not, but
I want him to be able to pass for real, like they were supposed to the first time.
Let him die for real, instead of retconning him to still being alive somehow.
Yeah, so much retconning.
Maybe
in the series.
He or the other he or they or them are the fathers, lions and bear.
You think Duray's lion, tiger, and bear could be? Well, any other observations, Danielle? You can glean from your seeing everything at once. I bet it's a lot easier to pick out sort of patterns and through lines.
No, I'm sure I will say things as they come up.
Okay, great.
Just that I really prefer the first 2 books, but we just discussed that previously.
Spoiler for everyone else. This episode is going to be long enough as it is. We're going to have a Hyperion retrospective in the future, which we will give you all of our concluding thoughts in more detail than you probably want, and you can skip it. That's fine. But if you want those thoughts, they'll be there.
They'll be there.
Well, Danielle, I've never been more confident in your preparedness to summarize the previous episode of Hyperion.
That's so funny. You know what happens when you listen to 30 episodes of something? It all blends together. Okay. Last episode, it started out with Filip detailing us an in-depth summary of all of his thoughts and the history of Tom Ray and Daniel Simmons, Simmons Ray.
Still a possibility.
As one. They may be the same person, and he gave us lots of details about that, but spoiler, none of it mattered. And then we launched into the books, where unfortunately, what's his face, Raul, rhymes with tall, had not died in his hang gliding accident, which is a real bummer. And
you're doing amazing.
He meets back up with Aenea and the others, and they are hang gliding somewhere. Are they trying to get to that the castle in the sky or whatever?
Yeah,
Temple
they're
in the
going
sky?
to the Miyazaki film, the Studio Ghibli film, Castle in the Sky. Yes.
No, trying to get to the temple that's like at top of the mountain.
Yeah.
And they're going to walk up a bunch of stairs, which is supposed to be meditative. But meanwhile, Numenu is out shaking up a 8-year-old trying to find out where Aenea went.
Very good, yeah.
And the Dalai Lama's like, I don't know. And luckily, a bunch of stuff happens in the background, but Aenea and Raul end up at the same temple that she is shaking up the 8-year-old at. So, bonus. Yay!
Who do they pick up along the way?
Desoya.
Yeah!
Yay!
Filip, anything to add? It's just like the most perfect summary you ever heard.
It's great. Continue.
All right, so they get up into the temple, and then and then Numenu almost drops the little 8-year-old off the balcony, but it's like, psych, just kidding, and then throws him off to the side, and then we never hear from him again.
Worst part.
And
he's there as a background character, like all the other like Theo and Rachel and Hime, I think is how you say his name. A bunch of characters that are sort of introduced at Tian Shan are just sort of there in the background, not doing anything, but just like, oh, they're part of the flock. I just don't feel the need to detail all of their movements where they do the same thing as all the other characters doing at the same time.
And then Aenea calls upon her powers of Aenea Christ to call the Shrike to action. He appears. He gets into a big fight with Numenu's triplets now, because one of the triplets died, right? So
the Shrike mortified it on something Baliana's Gray B, whatever.
Yeah. So then the Shrike and the twinsies are in a fight, but they end up going over the cliff because you got to get rid of the Shrike because of the upcoming series of events.
Oh yes, my favorite setup. Such an obvious like, oh, let's give this massive handicap to make this guy work.
Yeah. So Shrike over a cliff, twinsies over a cliff, and all we have is Numenu and Aenea, who used her magic powers to give them the ability to see the fast time fights happening, because apparently Aenea can do that now. Who knew? Who knew? And reminder, Raul is still just a regular old human. I think this is very important for this upcoming bit.
He's just a guy.
And so right as Numenu Nimis is going to go into fast time, something stops her, something magical. Who knows? And he is like, well, I can't control your powers, but other things can. Woo! And now she can't use her fast time powers because, again, we have to handicap her because Raul has to fight her for reasons. I don't know.
They can't just leave. They have a spaceship, they can leave, but they can't just leave.
Nope. So Numenu and Raul are going to have a fight, and in any reality ever, Numenu would totally win because she's a murder monster machine, and she would totally rip him to shreds with her metallic knife fingers. Gaping jaw filled with teeth.
Yeah.
But no, somehow Raul manages to out-chess her and hits her, and they get into a big fight, and somehow he wins. Don't ask me how.
Yeah.
It's a real mystery.
This scene should be adapted in a movie.
They've been Coops, Bradley, call us for your Hyperion TV show. We have such things to offer you.
So that happens. And then I don't quite remember. They end up going somewhere. Don't they go to some other place on the planet or something because they meet up with, we have some, as Filip pointed out, they bring back all the old characters just like they did in Dune 12
but
million.
not on the planet.
Whatever. They disappear. They go somewhere.
This is very important. Where do they go, Danielle?
Hyperion.
No. Philip, do you remember?
Yeah, no. Sorry.
Does the term Star Tree ring a bell?
Oh, okay.
Philip knows. Share with the class.
I'm waiting because you can do
They
it.
go to where the tree create the dome thing, but I don't remember what it is.
Super biologically engineered biodome something.
Yeah, the Dyson Sphere tree.
Dyson Sphere, yeah,
That's what it is. Yeah, they go there. I don't know what's there, but they go there.
What's there is the Dyson Sphere tree. And all the people they meet up with are there.
Okay, well, they meet up with a bunch of old folks from the old books.
Yeah, then they're all there.
So they meet up with Kassad. Yay!
Yay!
Apparently when Kassad disappears in the old books, he ends up in the future with these books.
Who else does he end up in the future with?
Let's see. So Rachel's there. Philip's there. Rachel's there.
Philip's there on the Yggdrasil.
Now I'm in it. Oh my god.
And Sam's favorite character that we all thought was dead, Mastian, is there.
True voice of the tree. True voice of the tree.
And apparently they really are going to fly the tree ship because the Yggdrasil's back as well.
Yeah.
They're going to fly it into space and put some people on spikes.
The Tree of Pain, that's the plan. That's what they said.
I cannot believe
surely
this
that
is
wouldn't
happening.
be a lie.
Like, how long ago has it been since we talked about this? It's like your dream come true, like the best metal plotline ever.
The one thing that was like, I can't wait to read this next part is to get that Tree of Pain flying through space, spiking people, like dishing out atonement, all that good stuff.
Dishing out atonement.
During my re-listen, I cannot tell you how much we complained that Tree of Pain did not matter and that Mastian disappeared.
How cool is that? Like, tell me, like, I think we complained about it about as much as you complain about the Wraiths, to be frank. And I think they're both an incredible waste of potential for the tree ship, because you just hear about that, like, yes, that is like a heavy metal album cover waiting to happen. I want to see that.
Don't forget the explanation that the power of death and creativity sparked by dying is fueling the computational power of the universe to calculate things in the core.
Sure, that happened. And the power of love
new
compels
parasitism.
us.
Yep, that too. What's Aenea's famous catchphrase she reveals
I was going
in
to
that
bring
episode?
that up, yes.
Choose again.
Choose again.
Think twice.
Dear readers.
Dear readers, try again. Your Messiah is in another castle.
Yeah, then at the very end.
Is that all that happens?
I mean, it's pretty close.
Yep.
Yeah. Phil, anything to add?
Yeah, roll rounds with tall.
Yeah, good.
It's hard.
You gotta say every time you say
Very
raw rhymes
hard.
with tall. I think it should be his official name now. Is raw rhymes with tall.
It's the only way I remember it, except that one time where I said like Raul rhymes with tall. No, it's raw.
I already talked about Raul rhymes with towel, so we should do this. Like,
Towel.
with his brothers.
Raul rhymes with towel.
So
I don't know, I'm really confused, Danielle.
communion
Don't
with
confuse
Aenea,
me.
and he becomes a god or something. It's like,
Oh, yeah,
no.
she's setting him on his journey. He gets to drink the blood of Aenea Christ, and he gets to, like, open up his world, understand the void which binds, how love rules us all, blah, blah, blah. And he's supposed to go on and be some kind of, like, godlike figure, and
She's like, they will elevate you to a god. And he's like, I don't buy that.
it's just the worst choice, because has she met him? Like, why? Choose again, Aenea. Choose again.
Take your own advice. Doctor, Messiah, heal thyself, I guess.
Yep.
All right. I don't think there's too much to touch on here. I do want to just briefly remind everyone that there is an anticipated attack against the Star Tree, that the Pax is massing for like a final blow against the Ousters. And so there's been a lot of war council meetings about that to determine what's going to happen. And he's like, I'm going to strike at the heart of the core because I know where it's located physically. That's a big thing that she started setting up.
I also remember we learned about the origins of the ousters, but nothing important was revealed at all.
No.
It didn't matter. It was just it is.
Interesting. I mean, I might as well get right into it because I'm going to start here.
One of the interesting questions we've had throughout this series is what are the ousters? What do they want? Where do they go? And they kind of said something about them, but didn't really answer anything. And I believe it's not going to be brought up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think that's inaccurate. I think it's a good point to jump in because the background to the ousters, I feel, is a lot like the opening section of this chapter, which is interesting world building that isn't plot relevant. It's there, it's interesting, and it describes something that's kind of cool, but it doesn't contribute anything to the story, which is not, like I said, not every piece of world building needs to contribute to the story, but there's a lot of that in this book.
Yeah.
So the next day, after Raul takes his communion, they are taking the consul ship out among the Star Tree to survey it and see it. And it's a really impressive structure. And while they're heading out, Raul tells Aenea that he hasn't felt anything yet from drinking her blood wine. And Aenea just says, it takes 24 hours, and I guarantee you'll feel something then.
24 hours.
And then he tries to flirt with her. And let me share their flirting with you because, oof.
Oh, no.
Raul's like, well, what if we're busy when the time comes, I said, wiggling my eyebrows for emphasis. Aenea sighed. Down, boy, before I staple those eyebrows in place. I said, grinning at her over the coffee bulb. I love it when you talk dirty.
What?
Yeah. So that's what, early 20-something flirting is like, apparently. Anyway, so they're flying out to the Star Tree and seeing some, this is really cool stuff. I'm not going to go into detail about it just because it'd just be me reading long paragraphs of description. But this is actually kind of fun. There are all these cool little details of how they have to, have these things called shepherd asteroids where they bring them in to the Star Tree and place them places to create gravity, tides or other things around the tree and all these other sort of interesting details. It's it reminds me a lot of Ringworld or Asimov stuff where they're talking about all the details of how things operate and the science fiction aspects of how it works. So,
what's your favorite part, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to get into hardcore science fiction, good story is good, but also let's get that cool, speculative science in there. Anyway, when Aenea goes to talk to some of the others, Raul pulls Aebetic aside to interrogate him about Aenea's husband because he simply cannot let it go.
I like that this is how we're spending the last part of this book, constantly obsessing about this issue.
Yeah, it's 80% of the last of this book.
And he just pulls aside every person on that we know. He's like, hey, what about you? Do you know anything? What about you? Do
Rachel
you know
last
anything?
Time. He's asking Aebetic now. He's like, dude.
How else could we use the last of this epic saga, space in this book?
So many things we could be doing with these page counts.
Aebetic has nothing to share. He's he doesn't know. And this is honestly the thing that makes me hate Raul the most, is that he is so stupid. He can't put two and two together. But he's also so self-involved and self-obsessed that he can't just think about anyone but himself and his own wants or feelings or obsessions. And I struggle to identify the character, and it's really hard that the entire story is from his perspective. And that has been a struggle for me throughout those entire two books. That's the thing I struggle with the most. If he wasn't the central narrator, I think I would have had a much better time with these books. But here we are.
You didn't have a good time? What are you talking about?
Do you think that's on purpose in any way?
That he's an idiot? Yes. I'll get into it later, but Raul's I'm such an idiot. He has these revelations later when things are revealed, and he's oh, I'm an idiot. I didn't see that. I'm an idiot moron. And you're yeah, no kidding. Literally everyone else in the book figured this stuff out except him. And we'll get there. And it's why did you choose to make him your avatar for the reader, who presumably has also figured this out because they're presumably also not a moron? Anyway, just a really interesting choice.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Raul apologizes for his stupid human emotions as, he gets he's shaking Aebetic around. You gotta tell him. He's I don't know. He's I'm sorry for getting carried away with my stupid human emotions. And Aebetic says, if love is the human emotion to which you refer, I feel that I have watched humankind long enough during my existence to know that love is never a stupid emotion. Two things. Thank you, Data. From Star Trek.
That was exactly what I was thinking.
Yeah. B, wrong. Love is all kinds of stupid. I mean, I'm not saying love isn't beautiful and wonderful, but also people do stupid stuff for love all the time. They fall in love for stupid reasons. Like, let's not say that nothing about love is stupid. Like, come on. Meanwhile, Aenea has decided to send a courier drone to the Pax. This is her big counterattack plan. They have one Archangel ship, courier drone, and they've been debating about whether to send up a bomb or something with it, but she's like, no, that's never going to work. Our only option is to send a courier to the Pax, to the Pope specifically, and she has a piece of paper, and she writes on it, I am coming to Patcham to the Vatican, Aenea. And she puts in the courier drone and sends it off. That's like her big plan.
Okay.
Her plan is just to tell them she's coming.
He's like, I'm coming. All right, great. That's the plan.
On my way.
Basically, he's like, BRB. Then Raul and Aenea and a few of the others don these ouster skin suits that have those giant wings that the angel ousters used to fly around. And they go out flying in space. So the suits themselves are pretty cool. They're like these living silver goo. You like drop on your head and it like engulfs your body. Kind of like the silver suits that Moneta and Cassad wear, like in the previous book. Like this is like, oh, here's where that technology comes from for them. It's like the start of it. But of course, Raul being Raul, when he sees Aenea decked out, he thinks, Aenea looks beautiful. The body I love, sculpted in chrome. I was glad that no one but the android had followed us onto the balcony. And I'm like, dude, get over it.
He's exhausting. I can't believe anybody would want to date him.
Right? He is so, like, weirdly possessive. Anyway, it's crazy. So they fly around a bit. The suits have these weird type of display which show a bunch of velocity equations, like while they're flying through, which I don't think would be very helpful. Like, your car dashboard doesn't show you the calculations it uses, like the equation for calculating miles per hour or kilometers per hour. It just shows you your speed. You don't need the equation.
Math on the fly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, let me show you. I'm doing, X number of rotations per minute on your tire. Your tire has a diameter, which means you're going, which is your, no. Just show me the numbers. Show me the velocity. I don't need the equation for the velocity. I trust you're doing the math. Okay? I don't need the equation. Just do the equation for it. Like, such a choice. Such a weird interface option. I mean, it was probably just easy for Simmons to put a bunch of equations in the book. They're like, oh, look how smart they are. Cool velocity equations.
Maybe you can turn it off in your settings.
There's like a setting like full nerd mode. Anyway, they fly around to school, but that was the only part that I thought was really worth sharing. That evening, Aenea has a presentation in a massive lecture hall, which is a sphere. So people are like seated on the ceiling. There's 1 million people, literally 1 million ousters and people in this lecture hall. And they're all around her at the center dais.
Are you upside down if you're on the ceiling?
Yes. Yes. And I'm like, that's terrible. That's a terrible design. Like, imagine you're sitting, like, I've done theater in the round. Like, if you're behind the stage, you have to hope that the choreography is good enough they present to all sides of it. But imagine being, like, upside down and behind the presenter podium. Like, what are you getting from that? What are you seeing that is useful? Why not just, like, put it on an audio, like, cassette or whatever, or, like, headphones and sit in a different, more comfortable
Zero G,
space?
like, floating in the center of the sphere?
No. She is, like, on the base, and it's like a giant sphere all around her.
So the people are like hanging, having their blood rush in their faces.
Yeah,
no, because like the gravity is such that like you're always attracted to the outside of the sphere. The people sitting at the top feel fine. They just have to look up to see Aenea, who is above them on the floor from her perspective. Yeah. You guys are just staring at me like dead eye, like you have nothing.
Philip has feelings.
Anyway, I think it's a terrible architectural choice for a lecture hall, and I will brook no argument.
I just don't like the choice they wouldn't put her in the center. Why is she at the base? That doesn't make sense if you already have gravity at this time.
Maybe she was floating in the center. I don't know. It didn't seem like it, but I could have missed that part.
Even if she's in the center, it doesn't make sense.
I thought she would be like floating around and rotating, so people would be like looking at her from all kinds of angles.
No, I didn't get that vibe. But I could have misunderstood things. But even so, that's still not better. It's still widely less convenient than your classic amphitheater shape, which is a shape of an amphitheater for a reason.
Even more so, you said there are so many people. How big is this sphere? Can they even see so far? Do they have like binoculars?
There's over 1 million people, literally 1 million people in this sphere.
Are they like a layer sitting on top of each other? Like,
honestly, This is not the point we get hung up on here, but what a choice was made. It's the details that really make this story. So, true voice of the Star Tree, Ket Rothstein, introduces Aenea. If you remember him, he's the other Templar, saying she brought a message that people have awaited for centuries. She gets up to talk and she says, all together,
choose again.
Choose again.
Choose again. Then she sits down and they
That was not together. We can do that. We could do that better.
All right. I don't think we can. I think we'll just leave it. I choose not to choose again. I chose our first date.
No. Now you've done it. You've upset all the fans of Hyperion.
So they do a communion with all the remaining people in there of the blood wine. Raul has a little epiphany that choose again doesn't have to mean choose something different. That every day he chooses Aenea again and she chooses him again. So they keep reaffirming their...
Sure.
Which, no, choose again, Aenea.
Can you imagine that's her whole speech? She walks up, she goes, choose again, pieces out.
That's it. That's literally what happens.
1 million people just did the communion, all the people in the sphere at the same time.
Yeah, they get these giant tankards of the wine and they pass it out.
It's like pumping the blood wine somewhere along the sphere.
How does she put all the blood in it?
Exactly.
So Raul had that question, and it's not just her. They also have some of her followers contribute their blood. It's a whole thing.
Okay. Cocktail. Got it.
Yeah, got it. So, the next chapter opens with the line, "My name is Jacob Schulman," and Jacob is writing a letter describing the atrocities of the Holocaust as he's being taken to be executed with a large group of others in 1942.
Oh, sure. Why not?
Why am I not surprised this is happening?
Then it cuts to, "My name is Caltrin Cadian Endymion, and I am the wife of Trorbr Endymion, who died 5 local months ago in a hunting accident. I'm also the mother of the child named Raul."
Okay.
Yeah, she has cancer, a new strain, no cure anymore. There used to be a cure using molecular nanotech, but the church banned that. The only suggested treatment is, of course, the cruciform. And Raul's grandmother reassures the mother that she will raise Raul when the mother dies.
I didn't even think about the fact that the church probably would stop technology and science for curing diseases because they want you to have. I don't like it.
Yeah. But there's always that sort of underlying thing about if you're ever sick or injured, get the cruciform, that'll fix you.
I never thought about the fact that Raul rhymes with towel has a mother. I never thought about his parents.
He's a beard
from the womb of the world.
To be fair, she's been dead since before the book.
He doesn't exist with parents.
It's fair.
He has not mentioned he did mention his grandmother, apparently. Who knew?
I mean, you listened to it. Did you hear her mentioned?
One time, Sam. One time.
It counts.
It does not count.
It does. Anyway, so Raul startles awake. He's in the Star Tree. Aenea reassures him he's not going mad. He's hearing the language of the dead. Apparently, he's just super duper sensitive to this, just as she had thought.
Wait, no. So he's hearing letters?
No, he's hearing the thoughts and memories. He's experiencing the memories of the dead.
Okay, who is in their head going, John Smith, as I go towards...
No. He's not like a recording. It's like he is living out, while Jacob Schulman is writing the letter. That's what he... But it is weird that it starts with, "My name is Jacob Schulman."
Yeah,
that's the odd part.
What? Is it a memory of him writing a letter about Jacob Schulman?
Yeah, it's just him writing a letter, but it has to be framed by "My name is" for some reason. I think it's just for our benefit.
Nonsense.
So all the voices of the dead and the void which binds are now and will always be ever present for him. All their memories, and he'll have to learn to control it with time. Aenea has lived with that her whole life. Since before she was born in the womb, she's been hearing the voices and the memories of the dead.
It doesn't sound like June at all, like Paul Atreides.
Yes, got you, yes.
It's not similar at all.
I mean, not at all. I don't know, Danielle. Do you remember that part of Dune?
Kinda.
Cool. All right. Well, I think that checks it off.
It's been 25 years since I've read Dune.
That's fair. So this chapter is mostly Raul going in and out of the memories of other people just before they died, their death moment, which is, a real fun way to spend a chapter. Aenea says that these aren't ghosts. Death is final. The soul is that ineffable combination of memory and personality we carry through life. When life departs, the soul also dies, except for what we leave in the memory of those who loved us. And those memories resonate in the void which binds, which is what Raul and Aenea and all these people can experience when they get the communion.
This makes it even worse that Raul was all angry at Aenea that she wouldn't tell him how he died in the future. Because you can imagine that she hears all of this all of the time. And she's seeing her own future. And she's seeing her past and her present. And then he's like, why won't you tell me more about why I died? I can't believe you haven't looked that up, man.
Right? This
her
is
brain is probably 24/7 just like,
She mentions that. And like, this is what I was talking about with Raul being like so self-interested and self-obsessed. Like, it's not all about you, buddy.
It is.
The only other vision that matters is Raul sees Father Hoyt, the Pope.
No.
He's on Patcham.
No.
He's received Aenea's letter. He orders the fleet recalled to Patcham immediately. Oh, but it's too late. It's already been dispatched to the Star Tree and will arrive in about 15 minutes to do the blowy-uppy stuff.
How did he see this again?
Questions. Yes.
Because he's not dead, right?
No. Well, Raul is confused that Hoyt isn't dead, and he's like, oh, you're also learning the language of the living. Remember, you had to learn the language of the dead and the language of the living. So I guess you can just sort of...
And then take the first step or whatever, yeah.
Hear the music of the spheres and then take the first step. So I guess you can just sort of see anyone you want to in the void which binds, a library, like a Rolodex of, let me just look up XYZ, see how their memories are chilling out in the void.
It feels like Aenea would know more, or the others would know a lot more than they know if they can just like phone book them.
You think? You would think so. Also, how awful would that be for every thought and feeling you have to now be public?
Yeah.
There is no private inner life anymore. Everything you do is recorded forever, and the void which binds accessible to everyone ever who has taken the communion now.
And you're hoping that everybody who's taken that communion is not a creepoid who's gonna like stalk you.
Or judge you, or be like, yeah, you're into foot stuff. Who are you, Quentin Tarantino? Oh!
See what you did there.
Yeah. Anyway, a nightmare. An absolute nightmare of a future Aenea's ushering in where humans have no privacy. I'm on the church's side for the first time in this book.
It only took, 3,594 pages, but you got there.
She has to be stopped. I can't let my private thoughts be public knowledge. Anyway, the packs arrive. They attack the tree. Raul is still half in and half out of his stupor as he and Aenea try to run away. So they're running away, and he keeps on getting flashes into memories of people while they're running. And they try to rush to get to the Yggdrasil to escape. Raul realizes that Aenea has spent her whole life using a lot of her mental energy to control these voices. And he's like, oh, yeah, good job. A basic understanding of empathy, Raul. You've achieved it. So the Star Tree and the creatures tending to it are being devastated by the packs. Luckily, Raul still has that gift from Desoya. Remember what that gift was?
The map. The hockey
map.
The
hockey map, which apparently can go through space now.
Jesus Christ. Should have put the hockey mat on the list to not bring back.
Yeah, well, bingo. We should have had a bingo. Yeah. What were we doing? Phil and I should have created a bingo.
Yeah.
You can still do that and release it before the episode and see if people get bingo.
We should have done it and not told you, and then we would have just been randomly playing. just one day would have been like, bingo!
Very good. Alas, we are not Aenea. We can't see the future. We couldn't have predicted that.
Gosh, if I could only go back in time.
What are you, the Shrike? Hey.
Maybe. You don't know my life.
I don't know your life. Anyway, they take the hockey mat, which somehow can go into space. So I was like, oh, it has a small repulsor field, which is supposed to keep you on it and protect you from wind. But apparently it's strong enough to keep the air in there breathable for 15 or 20 minutes while they rush through a war zone.
It's a carpet.
Why did he have to strap himself down to it that one time then?
I don't remember. Because he didn't want to roll off accidentally when he passed out or something.
But there's this containment female. Containment field.
Wait. Daniel, do you have a containment female you're not telling us about? Because I would love to hear more about a containment female.
You don't know my life, Sam.
Okay, all right, wow. I'm trying to know it, Danielle. Tell me more about the containment female.
I hate this carpet.
Thank you, Philip. Appreciate that. No, I don't remember exactly why, but Daniel, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I don't know why it's suddenly a spacefaring magic carpet. Okay, it doesn't make sense. I hate it. So they barely managed to reach the Yggdrasil and they stop just short of it. But luckily, the Ergs use their containment fields to scoop the carpet up out of space and down to the ship. They're saved. Yay.
I do like the Ergs.
On board, the Yggdrasil is set to flee, like they're running away. Aenea orders Hetmasting to get clear to where she can see the stars. The weapons of the Pax cascade over the Erg field, protecting the ship. Aenea explains that a tree ship typically has one Erg to control the engines and protect it and all that kind of stuff. But this ship is loaded with 27 of those bad boys, so it's loaded to the brim, fit to bear.
There's
Why?
27 Ergs on the ship?
Yeah.
Do they communicate?
Yeah.
They have like their own little parties together in their boxes? Do they have boxes?
No.
They're just chilling.
Yeah, the Mobius crate was just for the one that Hetmasting brought with him to the planet. But I think like the Templars have like a psychic link with their Ergs.
Right. Where do the Ergs, do they have like their own planet? Where do the Ergs go?
Good question.
When they're not with the Templars.
Maybe they were discovered on God's Grove when the Templars settled there.
Sure. Why not? And
I
then
have
they
no idea.
enslaved them to psychically link up with them.
I would say they're more like symbiotic relationship. They would probably argue that they are helping each other.
Okay, sure.
I mean, how else is Erg going to get to space?
He's just using the Templars to get to space.
Leica the dog could never gotten to space on her own. It was a symbiotic relationship between the Soviet Union and Leica the dog. Yes, she's dead, but that's not her fault. That's just the nature of space travel.
I was actually thinking of the blue people on Ice Planet Barbarians and their symbiotes.
Oh, of course you were. I forgot about that book.
How, Sam? We've done 2.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Call me when we've done 5.
Okay.
I was a threat. I don't like that.
Maybe Filip wants to join for one of them.
You want to join for Ice Planet Barbarian and get something more, erotic sci-fi?
I'll think about it.
That's a no. All right. So, apparently they loaded this ship with 27 Ergs for reasons that are, I don't know, never explained really, but we'll see.
They don't use them for anything?
They use them to escape now, I guess. But none of the other tree ships have that many Ergs. They all get completely destroyed. So, I don't know why this one was so special.
Okay, well, Erg party.
Erg party. As they flee, the Shrike suddenly appears on a balcony overlooking the bridge.
Is there a balcony? What?
They have like a bridge, and there's like I don't know. There's a balcony on the bridge.
It's
there's a
like
tree
the
ship.
console ship. It had a balcony too.
Yeah, that was an external balcony. This is an internal balcony.
Let's see, it makes even more sense to the console ship.
Yeah. And Kassad's like, no, that's going to be me soon. So he goes up to stand next to the Shrike.
He's like, hey, buddy, what's up?
You wish you were me. I'm the original flavor, baby.
Do they have like a secret handshake that they both just happen to know because they're the same person?
They do a secret handshake, and immediately Kassad's hand is sliced off. He's like, it was a mistake. Why did I do a handshake with the Shrike? Anyway. Also, Raul starts seeing auras around people, like a golden confidence of Hetmasting's command, or the violet of Kassad's shock of seeing the Shrike. This will never be mentioned again.
Is this something that happens to everybody?
No idea. It's never mentioned again. I've literally told you everything that's ever mentioned about the auras.
There's so many sound clips of Sam saying, this will never be mentioned again. You should have a soundboard and just play this clip every time.
A super cut of everything that's never mentioned again. It's one of my favorite things that books do. They bring up this big thing they spend some time talking about, and then they just completely ignore for the rest of the book. It's great.
It's one of our favorite things.
So some of the people on board are like, we should stay and fight. And Aenea's like, no, we should run. Not least of which, because once you commune with the void, any violence you do to another, you feel yourself to some large extent. So you can't hurt others without hurting yourself.
Okay.
So why are they trying to leave? What's happening?
Well, because they're being attacked, so they have to flee.
Oh, okay. I missed that
right,
part.
the packs are destroying everything.
I got sidetracked with the Shrike's handshake.
Yeah, no, the attack is still happening. So eventually they get clear enough that Aenea takes Raul's hand and has him focus on the stars, listen to them. Then poof, they're in orbit around Mars.
What do the stars sound like, Sam?
I don't know. I haven't communed with Aenea's blood. Is that what the stars sound like? It's like a theremin?
Pretty sure that's true.
Yeah, okay. That's why it's used in sci-fi all the time, because the theremin is the sound of the stars. It's the music of the spheres. Cannot convince me otherwise.
Philip agrees.
So they're in orbit around Mars. Aenea says that they're going to leave Cassad here. And Raul's like, wait a minute. What happened? And Aenea explains that she learned to hear the music of the spheres and then to take a step. She says that one can understand a place, and when you do, it's like hearing the music of it. Each world has a clear and distinct note. You can then free cast, as she calls it, by taking a step with the help of the void.
So she's like all powerful at this point. Filip looks like he's going to die.
So far casting, which is what the core done, is a crude where they punch a hole through the void by force. Free casting is where you understand a place well enough, or a person in that place, that you can just sort of poof to them using the power of love.
Poof to there. Freestyle.
Raul literally says,
awesome.
Where does the energy come from to do that? That's a lot of energy to teleport us and this whole tree ship across the universe.
Something like that.
Yeah, that's a big question for all.
Yeah.
I'm impressed.
Big words today for all. You got a lot of big words in this vocabulary. It's a big word day.
It's operating on all cylinders this morning.
Aenea says that it's love, and that's the key to unlocking the universe's greatest supply of energy. An engineering project 2.5 billion years old and barely begun. Like, love is literally, like, she's like the Newtonian laws of love, she calls it. Like, literally it's an energy, and she uses that energy to teleport them across the universe because she can now hear the music of the spheres.
I think we lost Filip.
You know how you could like use this energy? You could have like two people like really start loving each other and then they just like evaporate the planet. They'll be like, let's just like, we need to get rid of this nation.
That's how the Death Star did it. In the engine of the Death Star, there were two people just really going at it, and Alderaan had to die because of you, Aenea.
If there is so much power to harness, there has to be a way to weaponize this. There's gonna have some like a romance comedy, and when the culmination of the romantic arc happens, then you fire the death beam to evaporate 5 planets.
They can't hurt other people because then they feel it themselves. We just established this.
Yeah, but there's obviously some kind of there's a climax joke here where you love someone hard enough that it gives you enough energy to transport across the universe.
Surprised
I will not be making that joke any further. Yeah.
Roll.
So Aenea's like, there was never, ever a reason to have the Farcasters. Like, everyone could just recast around if they knew how to do it.
You just have to love each other.
So,
that's not
you just have to take the communion.
Right, but they didn't have the communion, so there was a reason for the Farcaster.
I mean, I guess if people had learned to commune with the void on their own without needing, like, the virus to make them do it, but humanity's not that good at figuring things out.
And the church was not going to let that happen, even if they had started to sway that way.
Exactly. Anyway, Aenea and Raul pop out down to Mars and leave Cassad there. Aenea says that the Pax is left, but they'll be back. And, quote, "You must keep them out of the system. Do whatever you must. Sacrifice whomever you must. But keep them out of the old Earth system for the next 5 standard years."
Why?
Got that? Why? Great question. They leave. They leave. They go. They're gone. They're gone. They're done. They pop right back up to the star tree. Sorry, the tree ship, the Yggdrasil. So that's basically how this chapter goes. Aenea and the tree ship, they bop around the galaxy, leaving their little friends. Like, they leave the Dalai Lama on one planet. They leave the Thunderbolt Sal on another planet. They leave all their friends behind different planets. They
it's
go
like a
out to
reverse
Maui
road
Coven.
trip.
Yeah, basically. It's like a drop-off trip, I guess.
Let me just say, this chapter ended, so I just want to take a moment. With each chapter ending, I'm feeling more and more uneasy.
Oh,
and
this chapter's not ended. We're way in the middle of it.
I thought you said
this whole
ended.
chapter.
Never mind.
Oh,
well, anyway, I want
not.
to say that I am horrified that I will not be able to tell this ended. Like the book.
No, I am glossing over. The chapters get very long towards. There's like 3 chapters in the back half of this book.
I think we should do check-ins periodically on the odds that this ends on a Wizard of Oz reference. I know we've talked about this before, but I feel like it gets weirder and weirder. I think the odds will get bigger and bigger, and I really think we should do like every 20 minutes have a check-in.
Where do we start? Where do you start now? As you've heard this much, where do you think the odds of a Wizard of Oz themed ending?
75%.
I'm in the 70s.
70-75%? Okay. Wow. Guys, very confident.
Well, might go down, might go up. We'll find out.
You will. All right. So I'm not going to talk about every drop-off they make because, boys, I'm saying goodbye to people and talking about Maui Covenant some more. But one of them is very funny. When they get to Tau Ceti, they leave a merchant behind, one of the guys they met on the Buddhist planet. And he laments that if he had some capital, he could build a commercial empire here. So Aenea just gives him a gold bar, just pulls it out of her bag, like, here's a gold bar to get started. Like, what do you do? What? Is gold even worth anything in the far distant future? Is that like a currency still? And why are you carrying around a giant gold bar in your backpack, Aenea? It's gonna be heavy.
Do you think it's the only one she has, or do you think she has several in there?
I think she could probably just like teleport around and grab them from Fort Knox or whatever.
That's what I thought at first, that she materialized it out of like air.
Yeah, like, does she have a pocket that goes into space and she could just pull it
like
out?
a bag of holding or something where she just has like infinite. That'd be amazing. I would not put it past her.
I'm like 97% sure she owns one.
I think it's very funny that she's like, okay, we have a super important mission. We're trying to save humanity and defeat this tyrannical, theocratic empire. Oh, here's a gold bar to carry around with me for fun.
Just thought about her.
I'm so glad you asked about it.
And then it materialized in her hand because that's how she used to be.
Yeah.
She loves gold so much.
Maybe since she's done the steps and all of that, she can now create anything from anything.
Yeah, who knows? Anyway, she gives it to him. She's like, oh, but don't forget why you're really here. And then they leave. On Lucis, they briefly encounter the Shrike cult, who calls Aenea, quote, the daughter of light and the bride of the Avatar, which are way cooler titles than the one who teaches. Daughter of light? Sign me up.
Is bride of the Avatar, is that because Raul, or maybe her other fake husband that we don't know anything about, is the Avatar?
I think it's supposed to be like the Shrike, honestly, which is way cooler. And Aenea's like, no, I'm the bride of nothing, thank you, and like rejects the title.
I want her to be the bride of the Shrike, though. That'd be so much more interesting.
Again, I pick almost any character from this book. It's a better match for her than Raul.
Except then, her and Rachel might have had some issues. I feel like they would have worked it out, though.
Why? Because Rachel's also with the Shrike?
Kind of.
No, she's with Cassad.
Kind of.
Again, unclear where the line between Monita and the Shrike ends. Very kind
I'm going to argue that she's a little bit with the Shrike.
I'm not going to disagree with that. I think there's a polycule here that would have to be established.
I think Aenea and Rachel could work it out. And I think the Shrike and Cassad are on board for whatevs.
Yeah, I think there's a polycule option here that could be really great.
Yeah. Simmons,
Tom Ray, whoever you really are.
Simmons Ray.
You did the math on love, but you didn't think about polyamory.
Which definitely would be in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. No, it's in the present, so it's fine.
Exactly my point.
Anyway, so they go to literally hundreds of worlds, dropping people off. Aenea starts to look worn out, and at one point she says to Raul, if I die before you, would you return my ashes to old Earth and sprinkle them where we were happiest together? And was old Earth where they were happiest together? Like on Taliesin West when she was still like 14 or 15? Was that when they were happiest together?
Or when he came back and they were together for like 6 weeks before they boned? Wasn't that old Earth?
No, they didn't bone it. They boned after he was sent away from old Earth, had to travel through all the different planets, and then met back up there on the Buddhist planet.
That's right, she'd moved to the Buddhist planet by then. Because she was 14.
I
forgot.
Because they had to let him age up by taking the ship through time debt.
You're right. So maybe that's where they were happiest together, when he was
unable to have
to be with her.
Yeah, she's like, I was so happy when you were like 12 years older than me, and we couldn't have a relationship officially.
Before I realized how stupid you are. It was such a good time.
Man, that's depressing. Anyway, finally, when it's just Hetmasing and Aenea and Desoya and Raul left, they head to Patcham. The Shrike's there too, of course. It just stood there the whole time on the balcony doing nothing, as it is wont to do, looming over everything.
Is it just hanging out? What's it doing?
Yeah, just chilling.
I would like to discuss why how often the Shrike just shows up, hangs out, and then leaves.
Danielle, hold that thought. Let me finish the little journey here, because I will have some thoughts that are very much interrelated with your thoughts on the Shrike, and I think we'll have a nice little point to discuss that. It's a very excellent observation I want to dive into. I'm going to finish off real quick.
More.
So before they go to Patcham, they sent a Bedic to Hyperion on the consul's ship, and Raul's like, well, is he going to be your envoy? He's like, no, he hasn't taken the communion. But Martin Selenius, he's going to be the envoy on Hyperion, because he's already drank her communion when she was like a child. Like he's been on board for like 100, 200 years already. So
Gross.
As they head to patch him, Het and Masti knows they'll only survive and patch him for like a few seconds before they're blown to pieces because the Urgs are already tired. So they zip in, Raul and Aenea and Desoya, they pop down to the planet, and then the tree ship vanishes, the Shrike taking it back to Hyperion, as Aenea says, to fulfill Het and Masti's destiny. Basically, to close the loop, this is where the Yggdrasil gets blown up in the sky above Hyperion. This is the blown up. It's like it gets destroyed here, but it gets teleported back to Hyperion, back in time, just before it gets blown up, and they see it explode in the first book.
Okay.
Why?
So, yes. So, couple of things. A, the Shrike was just there to teleport the ship back to the right time period, I guess, and make sure it blew up in the right place.
Does he have the ability to do that?
Apparently so, yes.
How?
Love.
The Shrike is a master of time.
Love.
and love. Time and love.
Music.
As we all know, the core made the Shrike, and the core know everything about love, so clearly can
The
master.
Shrike is filled with
Just
love.
talk about it. Kassan was next to him. They held hands. The Shrike realized how much they are in love. Then they listened to the music of that spot in space, and they just poof, by the power of love, they exploded.
But also, you cannot fathom my disappointment that the Tree of Pain flying. Remember how they rechristened the Yggdrasil, the Tree of Pain? We're going to fly through doing the atonement. This is the end of that story.
Yeah.
It's so
Their
sad.
atonement arc was dropping a bunch of people off on planets and then getting blown up. That was the entire Tree of Pain voyage.
And the Shrike kind of did that.
Yeah, it did nothing. There was no spikes. No one was put on a spike. Not one spike person. Why? Why?
I was waiting for some kind of description. Do they ever talk about what it looks like? Like, where are the spikes and what's happening? Like, they just mentioned
There's
it.
no spikes. It's just a regular tree ship.
Okay.
It's not the spiked Tree of Pain ship. It's just a regular, like, giant sequoia flying through space. Like, imagine you take a tree, you cut down a tree, you put it on its side, and you put it in space. That's the ship.
So
Are there
good.
people impaled on it at some point somewhere?
No,
Like,
never,
yeah.
never once.
But-
Tree of Pain, my butt. Where's the pain? Am I the pain? Is the pain for me? We're not getting the Tree of Pain I wanted.
Yes, the pain is meta. But I was going to say, is the, like, spike even real? Like, is the Tree of Pain?
The spiked Tree of Pain? Apparently not. It was like some mass hallucination while people were in the Matrix getting stabbed with
because
their
in
brains.
the first book, or whichever of the books,
Yeah.
it was
Second
not real,
book, yeah.
right? It was just VR or
Yeah,
something.
it was like all
so
theoretical.
maybe it
or
wasn't real.
They were
or
plugged
virtual.
in.
Yeah.
You just-
They were plugged into the Matrix,
Yeah.
Philip.
Yeah, exactly. So, why even bring up the Tree of Pain voyage and christen
That's
his
what you
Masti
said.
as the captain of the Tree of Pain from the last part if it was just going to be an absolute nothing burger of a voyage? Like, literally, it was like, oh, we're just going to make a bunch of... It's like an Uber. They just dropping people off in space and then get blown up. It's like an Uber that ended badly.
This is Sam's trigger moment. This is how I feel. Like, when I look at I'm going to die. This is
I'm so
exactly how I
angry.
feel.
The tree of Uber.
The tree of rideshare. Why? It was so much potential. I thought we were going to get that. I already come to peace with it. And then he brought back the hope just to crush it again.
That's why my don't bring it back anymore corner. No more, please. That's what
Yeah,
it's
sorry,
about.
Philip.
Was Het Mastine on the tree ship?
Yeah, he died. That's where.
Okay, that's where he
no,
dies.
No, this is because the Shrike probably took him off the ship and brought him back to the desert where he died in the first book in the
Okay.
Time Tomb Valley. So like it brings the ship back and takes Mastine down to the valley for his actual death, and the tree explodes. Or something.
So-
yeah,
I mean, you just said it, but why?
Yeah.
Why have the tree ship come back at all? What's the point
Yep.
of that?
yeah, yeah. Why
If
have
it's just going to be
Mastine
a
piloted around?
taxi, like, why do we care?
Literally anybody could have driven it. Why have to be Het Mastine? What did he contribute to the tree ship's voyage?
Or they could just use a spaceship and dropped everybody off.
I mean, the tree ships are pretty cool. I'm not disappointed that they're bad. I don't know why it feels like this one had to be special. Why did it get 27 ergs just to be blown up anyway? Like, what's the point?
Great question.
Yeah.
I don't have an answer
Yggdrasil,
for you.
World Tree, I think not. All right.
Poor Sam.
Back to the story here. All right. I'm just gotta compose myself. Sorry. So after that lame ending for the Tree of Pain, they appear in Vatican City, and it's apparently Holy Thursday. So
I love Holy Thursday.
it's everyone's favorite Thursday, Danielle.
Thursdays are the best days.
Not only for the Holy Thursday,
All Thursdays are holy, Sam.
some are more holy than others, apparently.
I don't think Philip's showing enough enthusiasm for Holy Thursday.
Holy Thursday.
I'm not into it. I'm
Excommunicated
sorry.
quickly.
I'm out.
No cruciform for you, Philip. So,
the Pope.
Because it's Holy Thursday, that means that the Pope is giving a mass in the Vatican chapel, and so the Basilica, St. Peter's Basilica, and so they all want to sneak inside for reasons. So De Soya leads them to an old abandoned church, which is only used for tours, and leads them down into what once had been the Vatican subway system before they transported the whole Vatican from Earth to Patcham.
There was a Vatican subway system?
Yes, apparently.
Vatican trains? Did the Pope Mobile use it?
No, because that'd be the Pope train, Danielle. Come on.
Well, the Pope had an asteroid, so I didn't know if he had a Pope Mobile.
Pope-steroid.
Yeah.
So what's funny about this is how they break into the church in the first place, which is Raul is like, oh, I think I can pick that lock. There's a giant padlock chain across the door. So he gets his knife out and spends forever trying to padlock it. The knife breaks and he gets mad, so he curses and smacks the lock, which just pops open. And if that doesn't summarize Raul's whole story in a nutshell, I don't know what does, because it's Raul failing to do anything and then having it work out for him anyway.
Did he have some skill set before Not Known to Us? Where he okay?
Maybe, I don't know, but he was very confident. I can pick that lock with my knife, and fails and yet succeeds.
Probably his grandma taught him.
Yeah, probably his grandma taught him. Here's how you pick a lock, little Raul.
When she taught him chess.
Yeah. So down in the tunnels, they quickly find they're filled with bones. This had been turned into a catacombs after the, quote, 7 Nations War in the early 21st century.
Sure.
Yep. So they just spend pages wonking through the dark bone tunnels before reaching a dead end.
Cool.
But Raul...
And then they die.
Yes, they die. Perfect. End of the book. That's how the book ends, guys. Oh, there's a Wizard of Oz thing because they click their heels 3 times to go, there's no place like the Vatican, and they appear in the Basilica.
Can only hope.
Let's check in. How are we feeling about that Wizard of Oz ending?
I think that it's entirely possible that they would click their heels and end up in the Vatican. I think that there's a 12% chance that could happen in this book.
Yeah, but what about the ending? Are you still at 70%?
I'm still at 70%.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. So, but Raul, being the master mason that he is, notices the brickwork was hastily done. And so they all chisel away at the grout with fevers until Raul shoulder slams the wall down.
He's done that before, right?
Yeah.
I came back, Philip.
Yeah, I came back. The one trait is that used to be a hunter and a bricklayer. So those 2 things keep coming back. Apparently, you have to keep finding situations for his skill set to be useful. Philip is so, I mean, we can't see him, but he is just head in hands, struggling. I'm sorry, Philip.
Jump in there, Philip. You can do it.
For all the things to bring up and have a payoff for.
Yeah. Well, there you go, Dave. I hope that really feel the payoff of the long-running Mason skills of Raul really came full circle.
He's got 2 skills. You got to bring them up as much as you can.
He has 2 redeeming qualities. They got to come up somewhere. So they emerge after they climb a metal spiral staircase in the back of the Basilica, and they see Hoyt conducting the mass. They sort of blend in with the crowd.
Do they?
Yep, apparently. Again, you can argue with it, but it happens. Whether it should or not is a whole other story.
Remember when Aenea put a veil on and thought that would blend her in with the crowd?
Yeah.
I don't trust her ability to blend in.
Well, you don't have to worry about it for long. Just before the mass ends, Aenea asks De Soya to leave and to find a place to hide out in Rome for the time being.
Isn't De Soya pretty well known? Wouldn't he be easily found out in this crowd?
I don't think the rabble know him. I think he's known to the higher muckety mucks, but they're way in the back and the nosebleeds.
Okay, sure.
That's how they describe it. That's what they say. Once De Soya leaves, Aenea asks Raul to drink something. He does, and they're like, wait, what was that? And she tells him, it's the antidote to the church birth control that he took when he joined the Home Guard back in Hyperion.
She just had it in her pocket? Did she have it in her bag of magic?
Yeah, apparently gold bars and birth control antidotes are what she carries out there. She's got a full bag of those.
Just had it just in case she needed it?
Yeah.
She's trying to get knocked up, isn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Well, Rawl's like, wait a minute. This takes a month to take effect. So she sees a future for us. She's not going to die here. And he's a moron. He still hasn't figured it out. And he's the only one in the book who hasn't figured it out. And it's so frustrating. So they make out a bit in the back of the church.
No, I feel like that's a little non-consensual. Have they had a whole conversation about having kids?
It's fine, Danielle. She's not pregnant yet.
Yeah, but took away his ability to, like, now he's got to go, if he was like, no, I'm not ready to have children yet, now he's got to go find the magic potion again.
Look, Raul has no agency. He will do whatever Aenea says regardless. So this is not non-consensual.
I realize that's true. However.
Look, in reality, just telling your partner... I mean, I may have gotten the order wrong. He may have learned it was the antidote before drinking it, so it's fine. But either way, I don't think it's like a big deal for Raul. He's basically her puppet at this point.
Which is further plays into my theory that we should be following Aenea, and she should just be drip-feeding him information throughout this book. 100%.
Again, when we get to my final thoughts, so they make out a bit in the back of the Basilica because, you know...
As one does during a church service.
Why not?
I know, that's what I do during church.
Your traditional Holy Thursday church makeout session. I believe everyone does one.
That's why I totally, Sam.
Yeah. Well, different holes, Danielle.
Oh my gosh. It's funny.
Filip is struggling. I'm so sorry, Filip. You got to just like get zen with it. Become one with the void, which is this book.
Make more fun of it. It makes you feel better.
It does. So after they do that, Aenea walks out into the middle of the aisle and shouts, "Lenner Hoyt, I am Aenea, daughter of Braun Lamia, who traveled to Hyperion with you to face the strike. I am the daughter of the John Keats Cybrid, whom your court masters have twice killed in the flesh." And Hoyt is like, "Oh, the abomination." And Aenea's like, "No, you're the abomination." And like starts running at him.
What?
And then they like, her and Raul start charging the Pope and like knocking over the Swiss guard and like fighting and grabbing pikes and like stabbing people. And they have a big old fight scene.
So she goes from making out with him to being like, hold that thought. You are an abomination.
Yeah. Isn't Aenea the best? I love her. I want to follow Aenea's like, oh, I'm making out with you, but I got to hold on a moment. I got to go and take down the despotic, theocratic leader of this horrible, twisted version of Catholicism. Abomination!
I'll be back. We'll have them babies.
Yeah, like, Aenea is great. Love her.
But how do they even fight the guards? Raul can't fight for nothing. Like, she can't fight either. Okay.
They fight for a bit, and then they're taken down. They're pretty quickly overwhelmed and rendered unconscious.
Okay. Something meaningful happened. Something reasonable happened. I can't believe it.
Yes, reasonable.
Wait, Aenea and Raul are
taken down.
That's impossible. Raul just took down Niminu in like 3 seconds. He's like the most skilled warrior in the entire galaxy. And you're telling me he can't take down pack soldiers? What?
Apparently not.
Shenanigans.
To be fair, it was mostly gravity that defeated Niminu in that he just basically helped her along to help gravity along. And in this chapter,
there's gravity here too, Sam.
Yeah, but this time the gravity was working against him because he was slammed to the ground by the packs.
We should use the power of love. Like, what are we even learning from this book?
Oh, you're gonna. Oh, we're getting. We're coming. We're so close to some of the best parts.
Oh, no.
All right. So as Raul loses consciousness, his last cessation was, quote, "the cold flow of urine down my pant leg."
Why?
And I'm like, A,
Raul.
Gross. Also, B, cold? Is urine cold? Like, I don't know about you. My bladder is located inside my body and is therefore warmer than my skin temperature. And so when I wet myself, which I do frequently because, you know, I'm like Raul here, I must do it occasionally, it feels warm. I don't know, Danielle, what is your experience with wetting yourself? Is it cold or warm?
All things that come out of your body onto your body are definitely warm.
Yeah, so this was I had to like double, like I read this like 3 times, like maybe it's like the cold sensation of, you know, something else. Like, no, it was the urine was cold. I'm like, I don't understand. Is his body broken? Did the serum Aenea gave him like turn his urine ice cold? What's going on?
Constantly happen. We're supposed to be unraveling the mysteries of the universe, teleportation by love, and suddenly we have like this intense like thought process about cold urine.
Philip, inquiring minds need to know why is Raul's urine cold?
Like, why is this like a point?
Is that a side effect of the communion with Aenea?
Yes, it's infected him, Sam. He now has a raging fever. the urine is now feels cold as it comes out of his body because his temperature is like 107.
But that's still the internal temperature will always be hotter because that's where the heat comes from.
Nope, it's like containing it. It's his organs are like trying to like shut down and retain their like functioning.
His legs are super hot, but his torso and bladder are super cold.
Yes.
Got it.
They're dying.
Is that happening to all of like Aenea's followers?
Yeah, from the inside out, he's like becoming a new human. It's just like burning away the sin of hate.
See, Philip, if you don't explore these questions, you'll never get these answers.
Can't argue with that.
I've never seen Philip have more regret for joining us on this journey. He's like, I should have just read the book myself and got away from these idiots.
It's the book, it's not you. Why is this even there? Why do you even say that?
Great choice. I mean, honestly, Raul peeing himself before passing out after trying to fight the Pope. Top-notch Raul. I think that's Raul over.
Yeah, on brand.
On brand, yeah. 100% Raul. The fact that it's cold adds a whole layer of bonkers, which I kind of love.
Also on brand.
I don't know if there's like an editing mistake or if like an editor like, you should make that warm. Like, oh, yeah. Or if he's like, no, it's cold for a reason, but I'll never tell anyone why. And I want to believe it's the latter. Oh, I'm exhausted just thinking about it. All right, so we cut back to Raul in the cat box. We're up to the current of the story. He's finished the narration. We finally reached we started with you're probably wondering how I got here at the beginning of the first book. And now we're like, oh, now we're back to where I started part. So we did it, guys. We're only 90-some% of the way through the book, and we got to the part where it started in the first book.
Aren't you excited, Philip?
No, because Sam mentioned this is the part where he got the most angry when he got to this point. I remember
No. That was the tree ship got me the most.
Yeah, of course.
You said that. He's right. Philip's right. You said last episode that you remembered that we did eventually get back to the cat box, and it made you very angry.
It also, again, it does make me very angry. But I'm very excited to share that with you. Misery loves company, as we all know. So, Raul was given a brief show trial, like 10 minutes, and shipped out to his prison around Arbogast and has been writing the story ever since.
Do we get to guess what's going to happen?
You want to? Go for it, please. How do you think he escapes?
Hey, Philip, how do you think he escapes? If he escapes.
Is it the Wizard of Oz? Do you think he escapes at all?
He clicks his heels 3 times and disappears to the Vatican.
Well, his like super boosted up organism, body, metabolism, parasite thing he's got in his body now like boots up, and he realizes how deeply he loves Aenea, and because he's ascended to be a god, he can clearly just think about love and music and teleport wherever he wants to go. So if Aenea can do it...
You don't think anyone comes to save him? You don't think Aenea may have like sent someone here knowing he would end up there to like break him out?
It's gonna be somebody like at the window, can like open a box, open a miniature window in the coffin thing, then look in and tell him, just think about love, and then close the window, and he's gonna realize he loves her so much, and then poof, and it's gonna be up.
It wouldn't even be the first time in this book that someone has knocked on the outside door of a spaceship.
That's why I brought it up.
It happened to Isazaki when
Counselor
Albedo was like, knocked on his door. So that could be happening.
Somebody's gonna knock and just say, like, think about Aenea, just think about her real heart. It's gonna solve your problems.
Danielle, where do you think it's going?
I think one of 2 things. One, Counselor Albedo and or Abetic knock on the outside and just like get him out. And it doesn't matter that he's been in a box this whole time. It's like completely irrelevant to anything at all. Nothing happens with that. Or 2, the giant cuttlefish with the little discs come and they somehow talk to him and they rescue him from the ship.
I'm really mad that you guessed it.
Does that really happen?
Well,
so you know what I would really like to happen is that if they opened it and they found him dead, because we never knew if he was actually dead.
That was my third option. He just dies.
Like the premise at the beginning of the book is that he's like in a shredding or something. We can't know if he's alive or not. So
it's not really a shorter cat box because it's just like there's a radioactive timer that once it goes off, he dies.
Yeah, so it would be genius if he's been dead the whole time and it was somebody else writing the story. Something like that.
Like hearing his thoughts with the boy with vines.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe he's hearing his own dead voice.
Yes.
Oh, like from the future. Like a looper.
Well, it would be genius if it actually made a point that we didn't know if he was alive and he wasn't alive. That would be something.
No. Well, we're about to find out, so buckle in. Lock in those guesses.
Cuttlefish.
So, Filip, you'll be pleased to know that Raul immediately says he lied to us. So, unreliable narrator
Bingo.
is back.
It's already like 6 of the points I didn't want to bring back up.
I told you only one of those is really going to come for you.
You should check them off. Check them off
Yeah,
so we know.
Shrike, Balduray was there, Hoyt was there, the same person.
Well, he didn't do anything with the Shrike. The Shrike hasn't gotten its background.
Abomination.
It's true.
It's all here.
So he says in the very beginning of the first book, which I did not remember, that he wasn't there when Aenea met her fate, when her fate played out. Like he wasn't there. And he's like, nope, I lied. I actually was there when she met her fate. On the ship out
Raul
here.
said that? Or
yeah. In the very beginning, he's like,
he wasn't in the
you're
first
probably
book.
reading this book.
What?
The very first book of, not Hyperion, the first Endymion book.
I was like, what? How did
Of
he
the
sneak up
duology
into
here,
like
sorry.
one chapter of Hyperion and then he left?
No, sorry. I've distinguished these into two pairs of books, basically, not one set of 4 books.
Okay.
So, on his journey out to the prison, he felt what happened to Aenea through the void as if he was also there. Like he was in her consciousness, feeling it with her. Like he was doing with the memories, but with her being living. This is, again, the language of the living that he's been experiencing.
Does she die and become her own baby?
This isn't a Rachel. Thank you.
He's gonna be his own father, and she's gonna be his own daughter.
Yeah. This is exactly Philip's favorite thing to...
It's going to be great. You're going to love it. All right. So he was there. So the whole scene plays out as if he was there. She had been taken to a dungeon and chained to this like suspended, they call it like a skeleton table, but it's like a great table suspended from the roof, and she's been chained to it. A door in the wall opens, and in walk several Nemes clones and Albedo. And then holograms of Lord Duzemi, Mustafa, Odie, and a bunch of the other cardinals appear. They start to interrogate her. They're like, why'd you attack the Pope? And she's like, I didn't attack the Pope. I was going to warn him. And they're like, warn him about what? And she doesn't answer. And while she's sort of like lying, she also feels that like, oh, she's been given this poison. I can feel it in my cells that she's been given this poison that'll kill her in like a day. So she's dead no matter what.
Did she think this was the best way to warn, quote unquote, the Pope, was to yell at him from the middle of a crowded room and then race at him?
Obviously, very effective, because I neglected to mention that when she was running at the Pope, he like clutched his heart because he has a heart condition. He like felt the heart disease come back, and it's like, so she probably killed him by doing that from a heart attack.
What does it matter? He's got a stupid thing on.
Stupid thing on.
We'll get to that.
That's the last point of my bingo card.
So she feels as if giving them poison, and when she doesn't answer her immediately, Nemes like leans down and bites one of her fingers off. Yeah. So this is a pretty gruesome torture scene. I'm not going to go into a lot of the torture, but it's there. Aenea then says she was going to warn the Pope about the coup, about Lord Duzemi's plan to use the heart attack that when the Pope dies, that, something's going to go wrong with the resurrection. It won't work, and there'll be a new Pope now.
Duray?
Well, Lord Duzemi.
No, Lord Duzemi will be the new Pope. That makes more sense.
Yeah. No, Duray is the anti-Pope. They don't want him back.
Okay. But if they kill Hoyt,
yep.
Whatever goes wrong with, are they just going to like blow up the body so there's like absolutely none of it left?
Yeah, they're going to make sure there's
it?
no resurrection. Yeah, there's going to be no resurrection.
Because otherwise you just come back as Duray. They just have to keep killing him over and over.
Or they can like put him in suspended animation or whatever the case. Like,
are they going to put him in a killing chamber so just like he keeps like getting killed every?
They're going to do the same thing they do with like Corporal Key, where they like keep him in suspended animation, only bring him out to wake him up when they need something or whatever.
Sure.
Doesn't matter. Lord Duzemi's like, oh, you are a witch, because she like knows this. She then lays out how the core controls life and death via the cruciform, using death to aid their computation. She just spells it all out again for them. Albedo cuts in to ask her, how should she freecast? Like, how do you teleport without the use of farcasters? And he's like, doesn't answer. So they torture her some more, and she realizes that they're torturing her to make her freecast away, because since she was in contact with the core as a child, she can still sense the core are present, and she senses that there are all these sensors and devices all around her, waiting for her to farcast so they can see how she does it and replicate it themselves.
Wouldn't she already know that this is what they were doing? She knows the future.
Yeah, waiting for the reveal that she's planned this all
dreams
along.
Possibilities, Danielle.
I was waiting for her to reveal that this is what she planned all along. Like, why would she get caught by the guards and all this nonsense? So.
It's 100% like her fate. She knew this was happening. She knows she's going to die. The whole like torture thing. It's all very, Jesus on the cross, the passion.
Like, she knows everything, I guess.
Yeah. And, facing her fate. So they're like, they want to know how she does. So their plan is to torture her enough that she feels the need to free cast away and escape, and they'll figure out how she does it and replicate it, because the lions, tigers, and bears have made sure they can't farcast anymore with the medium, so they have no other way to use it, really.
Could they ever actually learn this, though, if it's through the power of love, quote unquote? Like, are they?
Maybe they could. I don't know the answer to that. But the point is, Aenea also has the poison in her, so even if she escapes, she's dead anyway. There's no real escape.
Mm-hmm.
So Aenea only says that they can't use Farcast anymore because the lions and tigers and bears won't let them. And instead of answering more questions, she goads Albedo, saying, I know where you live, where the physical core is. And she goes on this big long story about how first they moved to the asteroids in the old Earth system. And Albedo's like, silence! And the other cardinal's like, no, let's hear this. This sounds interesting. Let's do this. And then during the hegemony, she goes on, the core diversified. They diversified the physical parts to be all around the hegemony. They put them in the labyrinth world, in the orbital stations around Tau Ceti Center, and in the Farcaster network. And then after Mina Gladstone attacked the Farcaster network, they had to diversify even more. Like, well, okay, that was too many eggs in one basket. Let's diversify even further. So the billions of core entities, quote, each formed its surrounding matrix in cruciform shape and attached themselves directly to your human hosts. Every one of your core individuals now has a human host of its own to live and destroy at will. So basically, every core individual is in one of the cruciforms and is that's where their physical hardware is. The cruciforms are the physical core now.
So they turned into starfish?
Yeah. Philip, check that box.
Yep.
Cruciforms.
It's 100% check.
That's the most frowning I've ever seen on Philip's face in my whole life.
I've never seen Philip more upset over Hyperion. Usually he's the positive one, but he's like, I'm all out of positivity to give.
Yeah, how am I the chatty one today? Come on, get in there.
I don't have anything to say anymore. It's like, what is even the point? The body of this.
Philip is so broken, I'm sorry.
How do they become a physical thing?
Well, I mean, they've always had a physical hardware to run the core. They've just diversified their hardware from whatever servers they had around the hegemony in the labyrinth worlds or wherever to a distributed computational network made of cruciforms, basically.
Where did the cruciforms come from?
The future core. Sent it back in time on Hyperion. Right. Yeah.
No, I was going to say that it makes sense that by perpetual death and resurrection, they, I guess, have direct access to the super computational energy from death because they're directly on the dying body.
Exactly.
So that's something that relatively makes sense, I guess.
So every individual core entity gets to control their own little life or death cycle to get the computation they need.
Yeah, that's what I was expecting to say.
Yeah, anyway. Albedo's like, very funny. Yeah, you're raving. It's all like he's trying very hard to be casual. This is good jokes, Aenea, good jokes. And everyone's like, oh yeah, sure. But eventually Lord Duzami gets back to the question of free casting. He's like, how is it done? And Aenea says, it's simple. All you have to do is come to a few classes, learn about learning the language of the dead, of the living, how to hear the music of the spheres, and then take communion with my blood or the blood of one of my followers who has drunk the wine.
Then you choose again.
Easy peasy. Obviously, the cardinals are like, oh, blasphemy. Oh, terrible, terrible. And Albedo is like, you're going to tell me, and orders Nemes to chew off her nose and eyelids slowly.
What?
Yeah, but one of the cardinals, I think it is Cardinal Mustafa, objects. He's like, whoa, this is monstrous. This is the guy that he murdered back on Tien Shen when, in the place. Like, you treated me very badly. This is monstrous. Who do you think you are? Nobody's like, we're your masters. We've always been the masters of humanity. Your only role is to help usher in this higher form of life, of immortality that is the core. That is your only use, you little flesh bags with monkey brains. Which, very funny. But the cardinal's like, no, I'm not going to let you do something so terrible. Apparently this is where he draws the line, I guess. I don't know.
Gotta draw it somewhere.
And so Albedo just makes a gesture and he dies immediately. His heart fails or the cruciform kills him, so he's dead. He's like, nope, all right, gone, bye-bye. At that point, Medusa is like, hey, let me do some interrogating here. Let me see if I can get more results because, human to human, maybe this will be better. And Bea's like, fine, you have 3 minutes.
Why are they killing her? Because she's just going to become a martyr.
But they're trying to torture her so that she'll reveal the secret of
but she's got poison in her to die tomorrow.
Yeah. Well, when she's dead, they're hoping they can staunch the spread of the infection because she's the source of it, and then stamp out her followers, and then they'll have everything contained. Because remember, they have that fire break of all the people in stasis?
They're really hoping that she doesn't become a giant martyr.
Well, who's going to know, Danielle? Raul?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, if your leader just suddenly disappears, you can make her a martyr whether or not she's dead.
Either way, like, she doesn't have, like, not that many followers yet. Like, she has a few thousand she brought with her from the Star Tree that she distributed around the hundreds of worlds, but that's like one person.
I thought you said she'd gone to, like, at least 3 million.
Maybe if you count the ousters, but I think, like, in the PAX areas. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe 3 million. But 3 million is not a lot of people.
It's not, but I'm just saying it's more than a few thousand.
A few thousand close followers, maybe a few million, like, other adherents who have taken communion but maybe aren't as advanced.
Sure.
Think about, like, maybe apostles.
They're still hearing the dead.
Yeah, exactly.
They haven't moved on. They're driven mad.
So, Goduzmi starts interrogating Aenea and starts interrogating her in Latin for reasons. He's like speaking to her in Latin. He asks, he starts asking, like, what is it you seek? And she answers, strength. That I be given the strength I need to carry out this, my resolve. And he's like, what else do you seek? And Aenea says, she seeks peace. And Abiel's like, guys, I speak Latin. I get this. He's like, never just ignores him. And so Goduzmi's like, I'm going to use the flames. And so he gestures and flames come out of the floor, grate in the floor, and burn her feet off.
What?
Question. Is this written in Latin, or is it just said that they're speaking in Latin?
Genius.
Both. So basically what happens is it writes it in Latin, then has like a little translation in English and italics next to it. Or
Do you
whatever.
think he speaks Latin, or did he like look it all up? Did he talk to a Latin expert?
I would not put it past him to have learned Latin to do this. I would not be surprised.
Love that.
So Albedo, as her feet burn away, Albedo continues to encourage her, like, cast away, Aenea. You can be safe. You can be with Raul. You can end all this suffering. Just cast away. And Goduzmi said, feetless. It's fine. We can rebuild your feet. Better, stronger, faster.
Cyborg.
Goduzmi says, still in Latin, are you ready, therefore? To which Aenea replies, in the name of Humanitas, I am ready.
No, she should have said I was ready before I was born.
Thank you, Danielle.
She was.
She literally was. Perfect opportunity. Opportunity wasted.
It was so good.
Yeah, such a lost chance. So anyway, she's like, oh yeah, I'm ready, whatever. And Ludwig like gestures and flames engulf her body, and she burns to death over Albedo's objection. Her last thought is, Raul, I love you.
Okay.
Yeah. There are better last thoughts, I think, but what am I?
So I don't know whether or not she's actually coming back. I don't know if I feel bad.
So Raul, having experienced this in the ship, is like freaking out. He starts slamming around. Eventually he calms down before he's finally transported to the shorter cat box. And that's where he's been sitting there writing his story. And soon after he started writing, he realizes he could share the thoughts and actions of others. This being the learning language of the living. So like he did with Aenea, he can now do that with other people. And this is how he learned about all the other things that happened that he wasn't present for. So that's how he knows what happened with, Desoy and his travels, and what happened with Gregorius and the other people.
So he knows everything. He has access to all the information, but he still is unreliable. He lies, and he cannot be trusted, and he mistook a bunch of stuff.
And he still hasn't figured out, like, some very key details about the story, which are obvious to literally everyone else, which we'll get to. And he even managed to track Nemes and the others because they're not in the void because they're artificial, but he sees their absence, like they're a black hole traveling through the void and they can like track them that way. Anyway, one night he dreams that Aenea had come to him in his prison saying, we're leaving here, Raul, as soon as you finish your tale, and as soon as you remember it all and understand it all. And when he wakes, he found a note scrolled on the scriber he'd been using to write his story in Aenea's handwriting. A little bit of poetry and a little bit of letter from Aenea. We don't get to see what it is.
Choose again.
Yeah, probably choose again, Raul. And Raul's like, it probably wasn't really Aenea here. It was probably just me possessed by her spirit or something, doing that in my sleep. Sure, so finally, he finishes the story. He saves it to the digitized memory of the scriber, and he has some more dreams. And one, he hears the console talking to Keats' persona in the AI ship, right? The ship's AI when that's happening. And this conversation, it's insane. It's like the ship's going, you're not going out hunting again. And the consul's like, yeah, I'll go out hunting again. It's fun to hunt. And the ship's like, do you even like the taste of dinosaur meat? And the consul's like, no, it tastes terrible, but it's exciting and dangerous. So he's apparently hunting dinosaurs on this planet with the ship, just eating dinosaur meat and hunting dinosaurs, even though he hates the taste. What?
I'll take it.
What?
Amazing.
Why do we get one paragraph of dinosaur hunting on the planet of lightning storms and a million paragraphs of Raul trying to figure out who Aenea's baby daddy is? I hate it.
Simmons strikes again.
This is the only way they brought back kids.
The choices are insane. And then the Keats AI says, hey, by the way, I'm leaving like tomorrow. I got to go back to the core and raise a ruckus to help my daughter in 200 years. So when Raul wakes again, he thinks of one thing. The child, Aenea's child. She has a kid. He figures the kid's about 3 years old now. He had never asked Aenea, like, if it was a boy or a girl, even its name.
Oh, no, because he
so
shut
self-centered.
down. He was like, I refuse to talk about this.
Because he was so self-centered. He's like, oh no, I'm an idiot. I'm so stupid.
He left her in the middle of that time breakdown, and he just was like, I've got to go be by myself while you cry and sob and don't know where you are in time or space.
Yeah. Monster of a man. So, as he's dwelling, thinking about this, he's like, wait a minute. What if the marriage, like, she said she only loved me, but what if the marriage was one of necessity? Like, she is a messiah. She needs to continue this line of messiahs and prophets. So the logical conclusion was, okay, so Aenea, she is the product of this core and humanity. She's the melody of the core humanity. But there's still the lions and tigers and bears, the others. So what if she married one of the observers and had their baby to bring that, like, other thing to make the full,
Abetic! Woo!
To make the full trinity of, humanity, the core, and the alien consciousness. And that's the baby. And I gotta go find that baby because, oh no, the father is raising, this alien father is raising this baby, so it needs another presence, a human presence, to help give it its humanity. So I'm gonna go find that baby and offer to help raise it. Like, to be its, like, model of humanity, its father humanity figure, which there are better humanity figures to offer the baby than Raul, but here we go.
He's as dumb as a box of rocks.
He is so freaking stupid. It's incredible how dumb he is up until the very end, and it's so infuriating.
Can he see if he can feel any? Didn't he go like, why didn't he just like zoom back in her past and see what her future?
He says he didn't reach out to Aenea's conscious in the book with Bind. It would be too painful, much like how she didn't reach out to his future to see how he died.
Sure. This would give him a lot of answers, though.
No, he doesn't want to. He wants to jump to his own conclusions.
He just wants to wander the worlds looking for a child.
Pretty much.
Assuming he ever gets out of his box.
Assuming he does. So resolved, Raul remembers the last step Aenea spoken of, taking the first step. He realizes hearing the music of the spheres doesn't mean like you're hearing the music of the planets or the stars themselves, but the resonances of the people who dwelt in and among those stars. So it's like a person thing, not a planet thing.
Sure. Is he going to take the first step and pre-cast out of his box?
So the time they spent wandering, so remember how they did a whole journey where they traveled through all the different planets on the Farcaster, and then he had to travel by himself across all these planets. That was Aenea preparing him, familiarizing him with those places so that he could return to them through free casting. Like, that's like knowing a place to be able to return to it.
Sure.
So he concentrates really hard, and pop, he's gone in a flash of light and appears on Patcham. He's back on Patcham. He's out. He's done it. He succeeded.
I told you it wouldn't matter at all that he was in a box. 50% to
Did
me.
not matter. Yep, you got it. Nailed it.
Yep.
Unfortunately, there was no squid thing. No cuttlefish. But
I am really disappointed by the lack of cuttlefish.
it could have been so much cooler. As he gets to Patcham, he realizes it's been largely destroyed. He eventually runs into Corporal Key, who's been out of stasis. Apparently, Key was freed up by Desoya, and he brings him to Desoya.
How did Desoya get to him? Free cast?
So, apparently, everyone, you know Aenea's death scene that Raul experienced?
Yeah.
She wasn't the only one. Literally every human in the universe experienced that same thing with him
Martyr.
at the same time. They call this the shared moment. Aenea broadcast this basically to all of her followers, and all of her followers on different planets, they were acting as relays to rebroadcast it to everyone else. It doesn't matter if they were in stasis, if they were being resurrected, if they were in the cruciform, everyone felt this and experienced this memory.
I feel like the church should have seen this coming because you kidnapped a Messiah.
Yep.
What do you want?
Look, your whole church is all about, like, what happens when you kill someone's Messiah? It doesn't go well for you. You think they would have figured it out from their own gospel. Hey, so you know when there's a Messiah out there talking things about that we don't like and they get killed, and how that goes super well for the people who kill them all the time? Let's do that.
I told you. I warned you. I said that.
Yeah, it's great. It's obvious. It's so obvious, Danielle. Of course it's obvious.
Except to the church, where it should be the most obvious.
Which is the craziest part. So absolutely incredible. Everyone has experienced this. Everyone knows about, like, the cruciform and how the core controls it and controls their lives and deaths. And so also everyone learned about Aenea's last thought of Raul, I love you. And I'm like, no, she could have done better as a last word for everyone in the universe to experience.
Choose again.
That would be it. So the vast majority of people rejected the cruciform. They're like, we're done. I don't want any part of this core nonsense. So they took communion to rid themselves of it. Many, though, through cynicism or avarice, stayed with the church. So there was this, like, revolution, a bunch of battles. But the core was the one that slagged Patcham. They, like, got really mad, got really petty. And so Nebis and whatever stole a ship and blew up Patcham just to be spiteful before they were driven off. DeSoy explains how that the Templars are now using the tree ships to ferry people from the labyrinth world where they were in stasis to wake them up and take them back home. So they're undoing all of that.
Can you imagine? You're like, wait, what happened while I was asleep?
Absolutely bonkers. But everyone else is back to sort of like after the fall, where they can only travel by Hawking Drive now because they haven't learned to freecast yet. But then it's like a new era for humanity is coming, where everyone will know how to freecast, and distance means nothing. You can travel anywhere, you can talk to anyone at any distance, you can experience all the memories. This is like the next stage of humanity is coming.
You ready for this, Philip? The next stage of humanity?
Not at all. I don't see the implications be anything good for anybody. Anybody can see anything, be anywhere, feel anything.
No privacy, no private thoughts. Yep.
Everybody will, like, accidentally think of the same place and teleport on each other and explode into a bloody mess of guts. It's like, what's happening?
You really thought that through.
Amazing.
Everybody's like, the popular, like, tourist destinations, bloody mess. Like, everybody's just teleporting.
Everybody's popping in there at the same time. Amazing. So, guess who shows up next?
Oh no, it's gonna be something. Oh my god, I don't know. It's gonna be somebody.
It's everybody's favorite priest, everyone's favorite anti-pope.
DeRay?
Father Paul DeRay, he's back!
Yay! How?
And Danielle, you'll be he got resurrected after Hoyt died.
Yes. Obviously.
Yeah, so he's back. Yeah. How do you think
know? This is what happened.
He's back. That's how Hoyt died. DeRay resurrected.
They seemed very anti-Hoyt. I thought they would have just burned the whole body. They didn't want DeRay there either at one point.
We just talked about how they planned.
They didn't have time, I guess, to complete their coup due to, I don't know, torturing Aenea too much or whatever.
He got sidetracked with the martyrdom.
Anyway, he's back. He took the communion. He rid himself of the cruciform. He's finally free.
Yay!
Yeah.
That means he can die for real now, Philip.
And Hoyt's gone for good. So his cruciform is gone as well.
Oh, it could work for both of them, even though Hoyt didn't actually take it willingly?
Well, it's a virus. It's in his body. It's his body now. It has 2 cruciforms on it. Now it has 0 cruciforms on it.
There's some argument there. If there had been another book, we might be having a different discussion.
Another book.
Danielle, there's no other book. Don't bring that on us.
I'm just saying, originally they had to be willing to take it for it to work.
Yeah, and DeRay was.
Yeah, but Hoyt is not.
Yeah, not his body anymore, Danielle. He has no autonomy over that body.
Iffy.
Take it up with Aenea. Oh, wait, you can't. She's dead.
Maybe.
Raul says he came to Patcham to find Aenea's ashes and carry out her final wish about spreading them back on Earth. And then he goes and explains about the child she had and that he has to go find to help raise it. They are surprised to learn about Aenea and her child, as DeSoya says, I would have wagered everything I know about human nature to say that you were the only man in her life, the only love. I've never seen two young people so happy. I still think she could have done better. Also, Raul is so dumb. Box of hammers. Raul is drunk at this point, so they've been talking and drinking at the same time. In the morning, Desoy has collected what remained of Aenea's ashes in a tin for Raul, and Raul agrees to take Desoy to Hyperion before going to Earth. Why does Desoy want to go to Hyperion? I don't know.
Time, tunnels, tombs, the Sphinx. We're going to put her ashes into the time tombs, and she is
resurrect her through time. And
she's going to go back through time.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Oh my god.
It's a brilliant idea. They should try it.
It de-aged Rachel. Why can't it de-deathify Aenea?
Yeah.
Do you know how much the time tombs feature in the rest of this book, Danielle?
0% of the time.
Absolutely 0%.
So sad.
Absolutely.
Then why even go to Hyperion? Are they going to go to the Edgar Allan Poe planet?
I really wish they went to Nevermore or whatever it's called. So, as they're about to leave, Doré says to Raul, I think that we will see each other again, Raul and Endymion, although perhaps not for 2 years or so. And Raul's like, 2 years? What does he mean by that? And he's so freaking dumb. Literally everyone else in the book has figured this out, but Raul still hasn't.
I like that nobody's told him, though. That's the best part. They're just like, dummy.
Like, this isn't me being like, oh, this character's so stupid because I, as the reader, have a bigger picture understanding of what's going on. No, the characters in the book have figured it out, and Raul clueless.
And also, you are literally reading his narration, so you know everything he he says it. Like.
Yeah, that's a good point, Philip. Thank you. Thank you for the backup. So they appear in Hyperion and almost immediately picked up by a Bedek who takes them to see everyone's favorite poet, Martin Salinas. Martin Salinas. He's back, baby!
Get him out of here.
Check it off your list, Philip.
Off the list. Morton has been busy broadcasting old hollow recordings of Aenea as a child, explaining about, now that you've taken the communion and have access to the void which binds, here's how you use your new powers. Kind of like instructional. I like to imagine them like after school special videos, like, you're changing body with Aenea.
I think we should check in on Philip's list and see if there's anything left.
Yeah, the Bears and Tigers haven't really come to play.
No, Bears and Tigers haven't come back, and
everything else
we haven't found out anything more about the background of the Shrike either.
Oh, okay,
the Shrike's background is still
the Shrike,
So there's 2 things left.
And Bears and Tigers, everything else has been brought up. This is my nightmare.
Poor Philip.
Poor Philip. Let's see if we can make it a clean sweep. Hey-o! So Martin has been, like I said, broadcasting these recordings about Aenea, expressing, here's how you use your new powers. Also, don't be violent, that kind of stuff. Ket Rothstein, the true voice of the Star Tree, has the Sequoia Sempervirens up in orbit.
Wait, what's his name?
Those were just a bunch of words.
Ket Rothstein?
It's not what that means.
Like, what are we talking about?
Ket Rothstein, the true voice of the Star Tree.
Ket Rothstein, is that like Het Mastein's cousin?
Like,
yeah, he's the other Templar who's the true voice.
Why do they all have the same name?
Het Mastein's the true voice of the tree. Ket Rothstein's the true voice of the Star Tree.
Sounds like it's Het Mastein in a costume.
No, he's like, he put on like a mustache. Like, I was thinking to an R-rated film. I'm not Het Mastein. I'm Ket Rothstein.
Yeah, exactly
you have the wrong person. I said his name like 7 times already.
I know, but I think I just thought you were saying Het Mastein over and over.
No, Ket Rothstein, different dude.
The same name.
I thought no, tired that he just said something like along the lines of the same name. Like, winged it.
Nonsense.
Het Mastein is H and an M. Ket Rothstein has a K and an R and an O.
You could name your Templars anything, and you decided that you were just going to do the same name twice.
There's Ket Rothstein, Het Mastein, Fat Dastein, Ket Clip Big Donkey. I don't know.
It's going to be like a group of superheroes.
Met Mastein. Met Dastein. You got Met Dastein.
Fat Lastin.
Splastine.
Is that a Templar naming thing, or is that just
I don't know. I've only known like 3 Templars.
Well, what was the third one's name?
I don't remember. You have to go look it up.
Did it sound like Het Mastein?
Probably.
That's the dumbest thing ever.
Yeah. So Ket Rothstein has brought the tree ship, the Sequoia Sempervirens. to Hyperion. But Martin's like, you can't land yet because I'm waiting for Raul to show up because everyone figured out Raul was coming here because everyone's smarter than Raul. But also the tree ship is carrying a bunch of the old, like, Raul's buddies who have managed to free cast themselves to the ship. And Raul's like, wait a minute. Other people know how to free cast? I'm not the only special baby?
Aw, poor Raul.
I know. Anyway, Martin is still a jerk. He's like, did you come to give me a report on what happened, Raul? And Raul's like, what report? And he goes back and forth. It doesn't really matter. And Martin finally reminds Raul that he wants to be taken back to Earth before he dies. Like, the last thing he wants to see is Earth before he dies. He wants to die on Earth where he was born. But he's so frail and weak and on the verge of death that, like, moving him up to space is going to be impossible. So what they decide to do...
is fall in love and fire free cast.
Yeah, like, why can't he free cast?
They can free cast, but even that's going to be... They can't free cast him away from all his, like, instruments and medical equipment because he'll die immediately.
You can't take things with you when you free cast?
Free cast?
You can. Again... Their plan is better, though, Daniel. You're going to appreciate this. This is in line with the gods themselves and our tradition, where they scoop up half the city of Endymion, and they lift it up into space and put it on the tree ship to fly.
Why? Why is that the solution to this problem?
Also, is that the Rise in the Rise of Endymion, raising literally the city out of the planet to the tree ship? I think so.
Dumb.
So dumb. So they bring the whole thing onto the planet and onto the tree ship. And then on the tree ship, Raul holds hands with all his friends, and then they free cast to Earth.
How do they fit a planet or fit a city onto a tree ship?
I mean, it's not like the entire, it's like a bit of example. It's probably like a city block.
Okay, but sequoias are quite large, but they're not big enough to carry an entire city block.
These are not actual sequoias. These are giant world trees that are kilometers long.
Okay. Sure.
They're massive. They can hold millions of people. They're big.
Do they cast it inside of the tree, or is it like, do they tie it onto the back?
They lift it up and they he's like, the branches open up to allow us to have a place to rest the...
Do other people go with them that are in the city block of space?
Yeah, like all the androids who are like all the nurses. It's an abandoned city. The city's abandoned.
So they're why can't they just take his like 10 feet of square space that surrounds him?
That's not as cool, Danielle. Why can't we just drive the moon into space without a bunch of questions?
For all the obvious reasons, Sam.
So they free cast to Earth, but wait a minute, this isn't the Hercules cluster. This is Earth back in the Earth system, Sol. We're back where it should be. What? Earth is back? Guys, Earth is back.
Why?
Good question. They're in the home system. Kassad joins them on the tree ship and explains that Earth reappeared shortly after the shared moment, but no one has been allowed to visit it by Kassad. Kassad's kept him away based on Aenea's orders.
Are there still people on Earth?
No. Everyone left, remember? When
I knew some of them left, I just realized everybody on Earth had left.
We'll get to that. So Kassad then sees Martin's like, hey, you old, jerk, you finished that stupid poem of yours yet? And Martin's like, actually, yes. In fact, it wasn't me who finished it. It was Raul who finished it. And he's like, what? Apparently, Raul's writing, his Gospel of Aenea, was the last part of the cantos for Martin. And Martin has already published it and also uploaded like copies of it to the Void Which Binds, where everyone can now tap into it and experience and read it.
How did he get it? Did he like pull it from the cloud?
No, when Raul brought the scriber, he just left the scriber lying around, and Martin took it and did that to it. He's like, oh, you left it. All right,
so when he free cast it out of there, he took the scriber with him.
Yeah, he took it out with him.
Sure.
Raul is like, hey, that was private. That was mine. You had no right to make it part of your cantos.
I discussed my zero-G sex in there, okay?
And Raul's like, it's mine. It's my story. It's not part of your cantos. And Martin is all like, excuse me, why do you think I sent you in the first place? And Raul's like, well, to help protect Aenea. It's like, no. Aenea didn't need your protection. In fact, she saved your butt more than you helped her. You were just there to, like, become the vessel for my cantos, which, amazing. Raul is even more useless than we thought.
And he, like, so talked him into it, too. He's like, don't you want to be a hero, kid?
Psych, you're just there so I can finish my cantos. Amazing. Love it. Martin is a hero.
How do you not love Martin, Filip?
He's such a savior.
No words.
He's the best character. He's so like egocentric.
He's not the best person, But he's like the most authentic character in the book.
I'll give you
That's
that.
like, oh yeah, that's a person that is like the most, like, yeah, there's a character who's most true to
I'll
himself.
give you that, yes.
Yeah. And he's in it for himself. And he is like
He's not a good
all
person.
in on his Cantos.
Yes, all he cares about. But Raul hasn't finished the story yet because there's still one last thing he needs to do, and that's get down to Earth. Literally, not figuratively. So, since there's nobody on the planet, they can't free cast down there. So, what they do is they land the entire slab of Endymion City in the middle of Iowa where Martin grew up.
Sure. Why not?
That's their plan.
Of all the places to go, Iowa seems like the best one.
It's nothing there to get in the way of. You're landing a giant city there, I guess.
Middle of the cornfield.
But Earth is now scrubbed clean of any trace of human civilization or the experiments conducted by the lions and tigers and bears. It's back to a primeval Earth. Before they leave, Abetic says that Aenea had very specific instructions for them returning to Earth. First, Ket Rothstein, not Het Mastine, would pilot the landing with four other individuals. The four individuals who would accompany Ket Rothstein down would be Raul, Martin, DeSoya, and Abetic. The other friends of Aenea would have to wait 2 weeks to join them, but it would have to be another 2 years before anyone else could visit Earth. Raul stupidly asks, why 2 years? Figure it out!
They have to grow Aenea from a seed.
Yeah. Abetic says that Aenea didn't say.
I think Ket Rothstein is not real. I think you're making that up to troll us as you're talking.
Okay. Danielle, I wish I was that clever to make up a Templar called Ket Rothstein, the true voice of the Star Tree, not to be confused with Het Mastine, the true voice of the tree.
You mentioned that it would be like the next level con if Sam was pretending the whole time that he's read the books.
Yeah, exactly.
And then at the end of the whole podcast series, you'll be like, oh, I haven't read any of this. It's just all been my creation.
I wish I had that level of malicious creativity. That would be so impressed. I would be so impressed with myself.
It would have been
Just
amazing.
a wild, wild idea.
Once down on Earth, they stand around admiring the beauty. Martin has Raul recite some of the cantos back to him. Then Raul has another epiphany. He realizes who the observer is. Danielle?
Abetic?
It's Abetic! Of course
you're
it's
good.
Abetic!
Amazing.
Got something! I'm so excited!
Yay! Well done!
Impossible.
I feel so smart. I was listening to those. I was doing my yard and I was listening to those and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah. So apparently, Abetic is one of the aliens who took the form of an android to observe humanity, and he's made sure to be present at all these important moments in human history to observe all these things.
Gosh, I'm so
Martin
proud of myself.
realized the same thing as soon as he read Raul's narrative, but Raul was a little slow to pick it up. He's like, oh, how stupid am I?
Extremely stupid.
Extremely stupid is the right answer, and everyone knows it, including you, which is really impressive. And yet, he's our hero?
Well, they can't all be good ones.
Raul then is like, wait a minute, that means that you, Abetic, you must be the father of Aenea's child.
I told you.
Where is it? Where's the baby, Abetic? And Abetic's like, I'm not the father to Aenea's child. There's no father now. There is no child. And then Raul's like, oh no, that means they're dead now. I'm too late.
God, he's so dumb.
And I'm surprised his brain functioned enough for him to breathe. He's such an idiot. This is like Dumb and Dumber comic levels of incompetence. This is not possible for someone to be this stupid. But it was very funny to like imagine him going, you're the father. No, there is no baby. Oh no, the baby's dead. It's like a Saturday Night Live sketch. It's so dumb. Anyway, he decides to go spread Aenea's ashes right now in grief and asks for the canister. But Desoya's like, I left them off the ship because we won't need them right now. And literally everyone's figured this out but Raul because, oh, look over there. There are two figures in the distance. Guess who they are?
Het Mastine
And
and
that's
Braun Lamia.
Yes! Ron Lammy is one of them. No. It's not Ron Lammy.
Mastine and Crep Bastine.
No. Snat scene. Ket Rothstein would be so mad right now.
It's a dumb name. Maybe he should have picked a better name for himself.
Okay.
Unless all the Templars are named like that, and then I'll give it a pass, but we don't have any proof to that.
I think they're all named something like that. I don't remember.
Hey, two figures coming out of the fog. Philip, who are they?
Who are they, Philip? Yes.
One of
the Keats hybrid. It's another Keats hybrid. Ron Lambie and Keats.
No,
her
it's
lover,
Jesus
Johnny.
and Keats.
Jesus and Keats.
That would make, I mean,
Jesus is a time traveler.
He is. One of the first, apparently. No, it's the Shrike and Aenea, a younger Aenea than Raul remembers. He still hasn't figured it out. Dumber than a box of hammers. All right. Aenea runs up, greets everyone. She runs to Raul saying, I'm so sorry this had to be so hard on you. I'm here. This is me. For the next 1 year, 11 months, 1 week, and 6 hours, I'll be with you. And I will never mention that amount of time again. We have infinite time. We'll always be together. And our child will be there with you as well. After the shock wears off, guess what Raul says?
Choose again.
No. He should. He should. He should. No. What he says is, hello, kiddo, and takes her into his arms. And I'm like, no! That's how the chapter ends. So if you want to take a little break here to have a little chapter reflection.
Why is she younger?
Because this is her past self coming to the future for him.
She just has multiple versions of herself running amok.
The question I had...
Remember, she left in the past for 2 years to come to the future to be with Raul. We're going back to the past.
This is before she left.
The thing that doesn't make sense to me
After
is
she
how
left,
does
whatever.
she know at this point what will happen? What will have happened? Does she see the future?
Psychic visions! She touched the void. I don't know.
Like I get it. I get that this has been planned and it's all like coming to fruition, but she couldn't have known at this point. She should be like a little bit oblivious to some parts of the story.
She didn't know the second when to be there. She knew the exact moment to make the most dramatic entrance.
She spoke the void.
She's that good of a future sayer.
Because she's just omnipotent, omnipresent.
No, Aenea's God.
Yeah.
Literally, she's a god. Okay.
Yeah, she spoke the void, Philip. She has poked the void. She is one.
You don't
with
poke the void and not become a god.
Okay.
Do it. Poke the void. No, you poke the void. Give me a stick. Poke the void. Anyway, the next day, Aenea and Raul are married by Father de Soya. Shortly thereafter, Martin dies.
How old is she now?
So, she's back to being like 20.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure she hadn't like resorted back to 16 or something weird. I couldn't remember when she did her 2-year gap.
Actually.
It was after that, question. Wasn't it?
So the 2-year... the 2-year gap, it must have been while... So the only way this works out without being incredibly creepy is if... During the while Raul was in the spaceship accruing time debt, somewhere in the middle of that time debt accrual is when she did this.
That's what it sounded like when you told us the first time.
That's why it's not
specified. So she would be like 19 or 20 probably.
Yeah.
Because the writer is...
Because she was 21 when they met up. So she's got to be 19.
The writer's indirectly giving you a choice to think of what you want.
Maybe she's 18 exactly. She planned it just that way.
And he's like now 40.
He's now like 29, 30, something like that, yeah.
Gross.
Weird. Time travel makes everything worse. So Martin dies just after their wedding, 4 months short of being 1,000 years old. They bury him and then, quote, let me read you the Shrike's fate. The Shrike walked slowly forward until it stood over the grave, its head bowed, its 4 arms hanging limply. It did not move again. So, thus ends the Shrike.
The Shrike died at his grave?
Just died or ceased to decide to move ever again by just standing over Martin's grave.
Was he secretly Martin?
Also, maybe.
I was waiting for some kind of revelation that as the Shrike morphs back in time into Kassad, he loses 2 sets of arms. And that's why all the book covers
That'd be cool.
have only 2 arms.
Like an animorph. Yeah, like an animorph.
That's a better ending.
No, that's not so tight.
No, the Shrike, the coolest character in the whole book, set up to be like the most badass thing, killing, Nemesis and her clones, does nothing in this book except stand around and then die over the grave of Martin Salinas.
I am so deeply perplexed by all the times the Shrike showed up, did nothing, and left.
Yep.
Like that one in particular, the one that bugs me the most still is the one where he goes onto the ship that's like, the one that gets buried.
Yeah.
Under the river, Tethys or whatever. And
Very good.
And he goes into the hood of the ship car and is like, I'm here and I'm gone. Why was he there?
Great question. I have no answers. This time he shows up, does nothing, and dies. So, way to treat your coolest character with respect there, Simmons.
He should have, exploded into butterflies.
I'm sure there's some deeply metaphorical symbolism here with the Shrike dying over the grave of the poet and the cantos being completed at the same time, yada, yada, yada. But honestly, I just wanted more Shrike ass kicking.
Oh, we did at one point think that Martin Salinas had brought forth the Shrike.
That's true. As a muse for him.
Yeah, maybe that. Ooh, I like that one. Running with it. Okay. Didn't make me feel better.
Daniel is so
Martin
much
Salinas
deeper
brought forth
into this
Cassad.
right now. Such an expert. I can't keep up with your knowledge.
My one real ascension.
So much insight into this now. I'm mesmerized.
No,
you have
Philip,
predicted.
Danielle knows nothing. She just gets confidence. You got to have that confidence.
Say whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
Say whatever you want to say. It could be wrong, could be right. I have no way to prove you wrong.
You have accurately predicted who's the bears and lions imposter. You have understood all the intricacies.
She got
you have
one thing.
It was a big thing,
small
Sam.
details.
Okay.
Amazing. Kudos too.
All right. So Aenea and Raul have a plan to go camping, just out of earshot because of all the loud sex they'll be having, as they repeatedly allude to Father de Soya, which I think is just rude. Leave the priest alone.
As the priest,
about all your sex you're having that he's not, because he's a priest.
He even had any?
Yeah, so let him stop teasing the priest. Anyway, before they head out, Abaddon gives them a wedding gift. Guess what it is?
The hockey mat.
It is the hockey mat. Yes.
On a roll.
Of course, it's the hockey mat. It could be nothing else but the hockey mat. Aenea also lays out some rules for visitation to Earth. After 2 years, anyone can visit, but they can only stay a month. No permanent structures or human constructions are allowed on the Earth. It's to remain wild. Apparently, Aenea and the lions and tigers and bears have made interesting plans for the Earth in the future. We don't get to know those plans.
So she can only stick around for 1.5 years or whatever, and then she's gone.
1 year, 9 months, yes.
And she can have her baby, I assume, and he can raise it.
Yep.
And then she's dead.
She's dead.
Sad day.
I think she got off easy. Imagine trying to raise a child with Raul.
No.
Honey, I don't know what to do. Can you do something? I'm competent. It's not a brick. I don't know what to do with it. I only know masonry.
How do babies work? Where's the poo coming from?
Oh, it would be an absolute nightmare. It'd be like raising 3 children. Raul counts as 2. All right. So Raul asks Aenea if their child is a boy or a girl, and Aenea says she doesn't know. She kept that from herself to keep it new and a surprise. All she knows is it will be healthy. Just before they leave, Abaddon asks Aenea if she ever read her father's sonnet to Homer. Aenea says she has, but doesn't remember it. So Abaddon says it's relevant to the future of the church and many other things, I think, and recites, on the shores of darkness there is light, and precipices show untrodden green. There is a budding morrow in the midnight. There is triple light in the blindness keen. Aenea and Raul get on the hockey mat and ride off into the sunset to consummate their marriage. The end.
Aw, that's so nice.
Dedicated to Jack Vance, some author I'm not familiar with, and Carl Sagan.
And Keats.
Nope, he's on this one.
He's out. Keats been out for the last 2 books.
He's in my soul, Sam.
We did it. Hyperion is done.
Yay!
Satisfied? Happy with all the explanations?
I'm exhausted.
Philip?
Do you feel free of the curse, Philip?
Disappointment bingo finished.
I liked most of the ending.
Yeah? At least something happened in the ending, right? Aenea did something.
It's a little heavy-handed and wrapped up a little too neatly.
Oh yeah, it's real subtle there, I think.
There's no Wizard of Oz. So that's something.
I know.
No Wizard of Oz. And, there's no, shoehorned in happy ending, at least, where, Aenea is resurrected in some BS way. So there's that.
There should have been a Wizard of Oz restaurant. Why start that trend if you're not going to continue it to the very end?
I mean, I think he should have clicked his heels 3 times when he escaped the prison and appeared on Vatican.
That would have been pretty
There's
fun.
no place in the Vatican. It would be great.
So the bears and tigers didn't really get, the bad over explanation. There was just like, they have plans with the Earth. They are there, so.
And there's a Bedek. He's one of them. And that was pretty much it.
They didn't say anything, so that one didn't get ruined. It's still a mystery.
I have to assume when he references his siblings, that he's talking about the other ones that are part of civilization.
I mean, must be. Who else could they possibly be?
I don't know. Just a made-up backstory. He's like, yes, siblings.
I mean, or I think more likely is when the creature inhabits the body of an android. Like, he was born as an android, it lived as an android, it did the whole thing.
Right.
Did Simmons plan like a sequel where Raul is bringing up the child and it's all focused on his parenthood and how to be a good father?
I can't tell you how much
parents.
I don't want to read a third book about Raul.
Yeah. There is nothing that, again, I think these books are interesting. They have interesting themes, interesting world building. Even most of the characters are pretty interesting, except for the one we spend the most time with in these two books, which is Raul. And it's such a bummer because it's, like you said, I think if we were following Aenea around and she had this whole stuff, that'd be so much more interesting and engaging to be with someone who had agency. And I guess there's something to be said for like feeling like as a reader, you had no agency in the book, right? You are like Raul in that you had no decisions to make and you are merely along for the ride. So I guess it's a more authentic experience in a way.
Except that Simmons repeatedly puts him into the most boring of situations. Like, he could be learning all this as he goes along. He could have been sitting in on Aenea's classes. He could have been like caring about the bigger picture. He does not.
Yeah.
He acts like somebody who just got put in there who was like, I don't want to learn any of this, like a teenager or something. Like,
well, honestly, his biggest driving force for like the latter half of this book is trying to figure out who Aenea had a baby with.
Yeah.
And not figuring out it was him, obviously. And it's like, it's not a very endearing quality, like when you guys obsessing over his girlfriend's ex.
Do you think that he saw Aenea at the end of this book, they reunite, and he still is wondering where the kid is?
Yeah.
Okay.
Until she literally says, you will have our child to raise forever. It's like, oh.
I get it now.
Everyone's like, yeah, duh. Everyone figures out like a million years ago, Raul. Get with the picture.
God, he's stupid.
That is also incredible. Like, what a choice to make your main character, your hero, the dumbest person in the entire book. Like, that's not me saying that to be mean. It's literally Raul says how stupid he is, and everyone else figures this stuff out in the book before he does. He's literally the dumbest person in the book.
He starts out actually smarter than he becomes.
He kind of starts out like almost too good. Like, he's a little good at everything. He has like, the skills for everything. And he's like, oh, wait, I have to nerf this guy. So make him dumb as a rock.
Yeah, interesting choice.
So how about my theory? Is Raul his own child and himself his father? Because he somehow travels in time.
I wish it was that interesting. No. He just has a regular baby with Aenea who time traveled to be with him. It's not that exciting.
Are you sure?
No exciting theory about who the child is?
I mean, the Shrike.
Oh, okay.
Obviously.
Well, she came back with the Shrike right there. So, Bron Lomia came back with the Shrike, or somebody came back with the Shrike. I don't even know.
That would explain why the Shrike only half listens to her.
Yeah, exactly. Mom, I don't wanna kill Nemesis. I wanna go hang out and play Xbox. Gosh, you're so embarrassing, Mom. I'm gonna go stand next to the grave because I'm dark. It's like my soul. You don't understand. You'll never understand, Mom. I kind of like whiny teenage Shrike. I don't know if he beats DJ Shrike, but he's up there.
It hasn't sunk in yet, but I think something has been lifted. I feel less heavy. Been done.
Do you?
Yes.
I think we've gone on long enough. We're going to have to leave it there. But sit on this for a while. Let it percolate through your consciousness, and we'll come back for our retrospective and get all the big feels, all the big thoughts.
We'll see if Filip got to acceptance fully.
Yeah, poke that void, Filip. Poke it good. Listen to the music of the spheres, the language of the dead, the language of the living. Take that first step.
I'll choose again.
Then choose again. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me on this journey. I feel like, I've completed my magnum opus. I am Martin Salinas at the end of this book. I can die now with my cantos finished.
That's true. Sam really did. It's a 3-year Cantos. That's a good job.
You should be. So now
And you didn't have abuse.
From now on, Sam shall be known as Sestine. Something like
Sestine. True voice of the
spike of pain.
Of the Hyperion tree.
Well, I have to say, I probably would have died if I read these books. So you have saved me. You have cursed me, and then you have saved me. So I forgive you, and I thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm happy.
I guess I'm sorry, and you're welcome.
Exactly.
You should drink of his blood and see if it helps you.
Well, here we go. I can't get any out. Oh no.
Well, I had a blast listening to all you recap the books. I couldn't have done it if you weren't here, so thank you.
Well, I'm so glad you could join us and bring your unique perspective to it, because after Danielle and I were going in circles, honestly, with our feelings, we need someone to help balance out our cynicism.
I don't know if that worked this last episode.
No, it kind of fell apart here, but we tried. We kind of brought Filip down to our level.
Oh, your level is much higher. I was brought up to your level.
Oh. Well, if you out there have deep feelings about Hyperion you want to share, you can, of course, always reach us at bookretorts.com.
You can also blue sky us at Book Retorts.
And if you want to give support to Filip, you can reach him at
mindduckbooks.com.
At mindduckbooks.com, where they can give you support, listen to some of your old episodes about books you actually like, see you in a better mood than Hyperion, in a happier time.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
And if you want to help fund my name change to Set Sastine, you can contribute to that fund at patreon.com/bookretorts.
Why? Why are they named the same?
So Sam's gonna be Set Sastine, I'm gonna be Crep Bustine. What's your name? Danielle.
Destine.
Dustine.
Pastine. Like that one better. Or Pet Dastine. That's it.
Okay. Pet Dastine it is.
Send us your Templar names, folks. Everyone gets a Templar name. You get a Templar name. You get a Templar name.
Yeah. Message us your name. We will tell you what your Templar name is.
Chet Blastine. That sounds like a character from like an action movie. I'm Chet Blastine. I'm here to be the true voice of kicking your ass. Anyway, until next time, never give up on your dreams, folks. They can happen. They truly can happen.
Take 3 years, but we got here.
We got here. All right. Until next time. Bye.
Peace out, time suckers.
Oh no, I googled who's the child of Raul, and the answer is it's Petir, rebellious young teenager who discovers Raul is his father, blah blah blah, and he's one of the characters in the short story book, whatever sequel, prequel.
We gotta read it! We gotta read it!
No!
It's
Phil,
happening.
what did you do to us?
It's going to happen.
Why would you just sat through that? Why would you do it again?
Oh, guys, the curse is not lifted yet, baby. It never ends.